Hey, good evening, football fans. We're here at Rochester Mayo High School for the Section 1 Class 4A championship game between the Kasson Mantorville Komets and the Stewartville Tigers. I'm Adam Peterson. Coach Aaron Meyer is going to be joining me a little bit later. It's a new stream set up for us, and so we thought what better way to do it than to potentially go through a little pregame here, talk about each of the teams, and then we'll bring on the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Meyer, to bring his insight right after the national anthem is usually when we bring in the big guns. But in terms of this game, Kasson Mantorville coming in at 7-2, Stewartville 9-0. You got the number 1 versus number 2 seeds. Let's run down what happened this season and how these teams got here. In week 1, Kasson Mantorville took on Byron. They were on the road. They were down 14-3 at the half. Lightning delayed the game a few hours there in the second half. They found themselves in a 28-3 deficit after 3 quarters, scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth, but lost 28-17. Brock Barwald ran 25 carries, 144 yards, 1 touchdown. Kyle Nelson, their quarterback, 8 carries, 63 yards, and 1 touchdown. Easton Seuss on defense, that defensive end, 2 sacks for him. And then the big man, Reese Tripp, this is not a typo. He had an interception. For Stewartville in week 1, they were on the road against 5A Mankato East. They were down 3-0 after the first quarter, and I believe that was the last time that we were behind in a game this season. They scored the next 49 points to win this one, 49-3. Defense forced 3 turnovers. Helder had, Aiden Helder, our quarterback, 10 of 15, 169 yards, 3 touchdowns. Owen Sickink, you'll hear a lot of his name probably going through these. 10 carries, 51 yards, 3 touchdowns. And also had 3 receptions, 49 yards, and 1 touchdown. Parker Wong and Drew Jelinek had touchdown catches as well. Jace Klug had a pick 6 late in the game. That moved us on to week 2. Kasson Mantorville trying to get back in the win column. They played Winona. They were down 13-10 at the half, but dominated with 21 second half points. And the defense pitched a shutout over the final 2 quarters to win this one, 31-3. Kasson Mantorville racked up 385 rush yards as they had 2 guys go over the century mark. Brock Barwald, 160 yards, 1 touchdown. Evan Snow had 6 carries for 119 yards and 1 touchdown. Kyle Nelson, I know he's their quarterback, but he had 2 interceptions on defense. Stewartville in week 2 was at home taking on Albert Lee. It was 55-0 at the half. 71-7 was the final. Aiden Helder was 4 or 5 for 75 yards and touchdown throws to Colton Parker and Tegan Malone. Owen Sickink, he had 106 yards on only 5 carries with 2 touchdowns. He also had a 47-yard punt return for a touchdown. Zach Schreiber, one of our lockdown defensive backs, he took an interception to the house, and Henry Cheddar also had a pick. Defense in this game, 7 sacks. Week 3, Komets, it was all Komets in week 3 against Mankato East. 59 points and over 400 yards on the ground to dominate the Cougars by 44. Barwald, Kyle Nelson each went for over 100 on the ground. Barwald, 16 carries, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kyle Nelson, 8 carries, 116 yards, 1 touchdown. Tomey and Nelson each threw a touchdown pass, 1 to Aiden Smith, 1 to Emmett Rickey. Easton Seuss had himself a game, 2 sacks and 1 interception. Tomey and Smith each had an interception as well for that defense. Stewartville at Faribault in week 3, Tigers, 28 first quarter points, ended up winning this one 48-0, 413 yards of total offense. Defense only allowed 87 total yards, and they forced 3 Falcon turnovers. Aiden Helder, our quarterback, was fantastic. 4 first quarter touchdowns, 5 in the first half. He was 7 of 10, 206 yards, 4 touchdowns. He rushed for another one. Owen Sickink, he was dynamic on not only rushing the ball, but receiving 7 carries, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, and then through the air, 3 catches, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Carter Miller, Parker Wong, and Drew Jelinek all had touchdown receptions as well, and Miller's was an electric 68-yarder highlight reel for him. Tegan Malone, speaking of highlight reels, made probably one of the most ridiculous one-handed interceptions you've ever seen in this particular game. That moved us on to week 4. Albert Lee was the opponent for Kasson Mantorville. Kasson Mantorville 46-0, 377 yards on the ground. Stewartville was taking on Byron. This was a big game at home. 3 straight drives for the Tigers went in the end zone. That opened up a 21-0 lead in the first quarter. It was all Tigers in week 4. 44-0, 461 yards of offense, 2 running backs over the century mark for Stewartville. Owen Sickink, 12 carries, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns. Braden Nelson, 6 rushes, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. Henry Cheddar, a 35-yard touchdown that was awesome. 4th and 13 on the sideline. He took it the rest of the way. Defense held top running back Adam Glynn to only 91 yards in this particular game. Week 5, Kasson Mantorville went on the road to face the Falcons of Faribault. It was tied at 7 after the first quarter, but then the Komets flexed their muscle hustles. They scored the next 35 points to run away with this one, 42-20. Kyle Nelson and Michael Hoff each had 2 touchdowns. Barwald and Ricky each had 1. Aiden Smith and Bennett Brown each had interceptions. In week 5, Stewartville was taking on Red Wing. This one was in Tiger Nation. It was homecoming. Stewartville rode another first half touchdown performance by Aiden Helder to win this one 70-13. 4 touchdowns for Owen Sickink. A dime from Parker Wong and a Jace Klug in the end zone were just some of the highlights. That moved us on to week 6. That's when these two teams met up first. It was a big matchup. It was in Kasson, Mantorville. Great crowd there. Stewartville jumped out to a 14-0 lead after the first quarter, but it was 17-7 at half. A huge third quarter by the Tigers was the difference in this one, and Stewartville would win the toughest game of the year, 31-10. Neither team committed a turnover. Very clean game. Aiden Helder, our quarterback, 14 of 24 for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. Owen Sickink, he had 16 carries, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had 3 catches for 26 yards and a touchdown. Parker Wong and 4 catches, 62 yards, and an incredible touchdown catch that he actually drew pass interference for. Caleb Jansen, he was a wrecking machine, 7 tackles and a blocked field goal. Brock Barwald was held to his lowest output of the year, 77 yards and 1 touchdown. Nelson was 4 of 6 through the air for 70 yards. That moved us on to week 7. Kasson Mantorville will go on the road to Red Wing. They were up 34-0 by the half, and it was 49-7 final for the Komets. Another 300-plus yard game on the ground for the Kasson Mantorville team. Barwald had 2 touchdowns. Peterson had and Hoff had 1. I'm sorry, Peterson had 1. Hoff had 2, 1 on the ground and 1 through the air from Kyle Nelson. Stewartville was taking on Winona at home, and this one was for the district championship. Stewartville absolutely rolled in this one, 41-0. Owen Sickink was a workhorse. His most carries on the season, 24 carries, 189 yards, 3 touchdowns. Defense was spectacular, only allowing 113 total yards to the Windhawks. That moved us to the final week in the regular season, week number 8, and I'll tell you, this was impressive when I saw this. Kasson Mantorville was taking on Owatonna. That's an Owatonna team that's in the section championship for 5A against Rochester Mayo. That's tomorrow. Kasson Mantorville, Owatonna tied at 14 at the half. Kasson Mantorville was down 21-14 after 3, but then 2 touchdowns by the Komets made it 28-21, and it was a big win for Kasson Mantorville. 358 rush yards by Kasson Mantorville, and are you kidding me? Brock Barwald, 12 carries, 302 yards, and 4 touchdowns against one of the top teams in southeastern Minnesota. Stewartville was in Rochester against John Marshall, and this one wasn't even close. It was 48-rip at halftime, 54-0 was the final. Aiden Helder, 7 of 11, 166 yards, and 3 touchdowns, 1 to Sickink, 1 to Cheddar, and an absolute dime of a throw there to Jace Klug, 50 yards through the air. Owen Sickink, he extended his streak of games with 3 or more touchdowns, now to 8 after this one. Touched the ball only 15 times, 195 total yards and 3 touchdowns. Braden Nelson made almost every tackle on special teams, and Carter Miller got flames coming out of his shoes, returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Week 9, essentially week 9, it was the section semifinals. That was last week. Kasson Mantorville was taking on a tough Winona team, but they were impressive. The Komets were 29-5 was the final score. Big runs by Barwald led him to a great day. 11 carries, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyle Nelson to Aiden Smith for a 20-yard touchdown was another one of those scores. Reese Tripp had 3 sacks, and Aiden Smith now leads the team for the Komets with interceptions as he had another one against the Windhawks. That's what punched the ticket for Kasson Mantorville to be here at Rochester Mayo tonight. For Stewartville, they were taking on a familiar foe, Byron Bears, at home. It was 44-0 at the half, and 56-0 was the final. They held Byron to only 131 total yards and won the turnover battle 6-1. Aiden Helder was perfect, 10 of 10, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 to Miller, 1 to Wong, and Owen Sickink, another 3 touchdowns. That extend the streak to 9, 2 of those rushing, and he housed the opening kickoff 75 yards to start our game off with a bang. Peyton Byrne, Dylan Scanlon each had interceptions. Grayson Schneider and Mickey Height each had fumble recoveries for touchdowns, and we also had a block punt by Tegan Malone. So all 3 facets of the Tigers played lights out. That's what got them here to Rochester Mayo tonight. We are excited to bring you this game on Stewartville Activities on YouTube. I'm Adam Peterson. I'll be stepping away just for a little while, hopefully hearing some feedback on how the audio is doing, and I'll bring in the big guns when I come back after the national anthem. We'll be bringing in 2-time section champion head coach Aaron Meyer to give us all the insight on what these 2 teams need to do to win this game tonight, and hopefully, for our maroon and gold, this is a Stewartville broadcast, but hopefully Stewartville can punch their ticket to their first state tournament since 2015. Kasson Mantorville is trying to repeat as Section 1 champions. Give us there's 18 minutes on the clock. I would assume that about 15 minutes from now, the national anthem will play, and we will be back. I'm Adam Peterson here on Stewartville Activities on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and looking forward to bringing you this extremely exciting game on a Friday night. Good evening, football fans. We are live for the Minnesota Class 4A Section 1 championship game as the undefeated and #1 state-ranked Stewartville Tigers jumped on Highway 63, headed north to 12 miles, while the 2-seeded Komets of Kasson Mantorville at 7-2 traveled east 20 miles on Highway 14 so they could all meet right here on neutral territory. It's Rochester Mayo High School, and we are going to see who's going to punch their ticket to the 2022 state tournament. I'm Adam Peterson, and Coach, just when they thought they could get rid of us, we keep clawing our way back onto a live stream. If you out there haven't been listening, you haven't been tuning into a Stewartville broadcast all year, where have you been? Standing alongside me, as he has been all season, two-time section champion head coach from Stewartville, Aaron Meyer. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great, Adam. I'm excited that we get to do this game, so it was kind of a surprise to both of us, and we're going to have a lot of fun here tonight watching these two teams battle.
Absolutely want to give a big thank you to not only Kurt Hughes from Stewartville and Brock Trine from Kasson Vanderbilt for being so supportive for letting us do this broadcast, but also we want to give a big thank you to Rochester Mayo High School and Jeff Whitney for being so accommodating, getting our station set up and ready to go here. This is a rematch of the Week 6 game in Kasson Vanderbilt. Stewartville, that was the toughest test of the season for the Tigers, but they came out on top 31-10. A few plays here and there go the other way, and that could be a totally different outcome. This will be Stewartville's toughest test to date again, and a lot on the line as Stewartville's gonna kick off. I wonder for the first time if we won the toss.
Yeah, it might be the case, or either that or maybe KM got some insight that we've had to receive every game, but here we go.
Parker Wangen's gonna kick it. Kasson Mantorville returns it up the middle. Oh, big hit there. That was number 25, Dylan Hoot, and you heard his name quite a bit last year on the return for Kasson Mantorville, Jeremiah Peterson, as Kasson Mantorville will take the field for the first time starting at their own 26-yard line, and you're going to hear this name, I would imagine, tonight, Coach, Brock Barwald. This guy is sensational. 1,300 yards, 17 touchdowns this season, but listen to what he's done the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 23 carries, 483 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's averaging 21 yards a carry over the past 2 weeks. You'll see him number 3. He'll be in the backfield at the fullback position. This option offense is all about discipline on the defense for Stewartville. The #1 scoring defense in the state, allowing less than 4 points a game. We'll see what happens here as Nelson keeps it himself, and a whole host of Tigers are going to put him down right where they started. Coach, option offense, tough to defend. I would imagine that your responsibilities, you got to stay true to them.
Yeah, we're going to see if Stewartville can do that all game long, because this is the type of thing where Kasson Mantorville is going to continue to run this triple option, and they're just going to keep bringing it and keep bringing it and keep bringing it, and eventually they're hoping to spring it. Stewartville's got to remain disciplined in all phases, tackle the dive, tackle the QB, and then tackle the pitch man if they get to it.
2nd down and 9. There goes Ricky in motion, or Snow, sorry. And another big stop for the Tigers. When we say stop, if you can hold this offense to a couple yards of carry, and that was Brock Barwald, that's a success. 2-3 yards. It's now 3rd down and 7. Right at the 30-yard line. They will need to get to the 37 for a first down. Stewartville will try to hold for their first 3 and out.
Brock Bardwell, over the last couple games that I watched here, has had a little more shiftiness in his running than I noticed early in the season. I've been impressed with how he's finding the hole and then using his power and his strength after that.
Nelson under center. He's got Snowed on the near side at flex back. I think Ricky's on the far side. They're going to hand that one off to Barwald and Caleb Jansen. And I'm going to get you the Jamie Hart in on the stop as they put him down right at the 30. I don't know how they're marking it up 2 yards in front of that, but it's not going to matter as Kasson Mantorville only gains 4 or 5 yards on their first possession. It's potentially a 3 and out. You always got to be careful here. And the most dangerous man in Section 1. Dangerous man in Section 1, Owen Sickink is back to receive this punt. A bad snap! Oh, we almost got it on the block. Sickink, he's going to return it. He gets it, and he gets about 7 or 8 yards before he's pushed out of bounds by Easton Seuss. I tell him all the time, hey, Owen, stop picking up those punts when there's other guys around you. He says, that's when they least expect it. I said, I do too.
Well, he certainly has no fear in picking up that ball at any times, and the coaching staff, as long as it's in his hands, they feel pretty good. So the thing I was looking at there, one of the notes I wrote down today was how close Stewartville was to a punt block in the first battle between these two about a month ago. And right away on the first punt, we see that we almost got there on that one. So that's something that's going to play out here as the game goes on.
Helder's in the shotgun, Sickick behind him. He puts Riggin in motion. Cheddar and Miller on the far side. He hands that one off. He's going to bounce it out to the right, but great job there on the tackle by 22, Emmett Rickey. As I don't believe Sickick gained any yardage. No, it'll still be 2nd and 10. I was wrong. Malone is the other wide receiver. Him and Cheddar are out there. You got the big cats up front, just a stellar offensive line, probably one of the best offensive lines that we've seen in some time. Colton Parker at the tight end position on the right side. Tight trips to the left. Helder looks over to the sideline. Now that they see the defensive set, something that not only do we see shifts a lot with this offense, but also looking over.
Yeah,
and there's the handoff to Sickick off the left side. He's got blocking out in front of him. Tries to do a stiff arm. Kasson Tomei gets the face mask, and that's going to be another 15.
We're going to see the cat and mouse game here between the Stewartville offense and the Kasson defense. Kasson's going to set their front and place their linebackers and DBs where they want them based off of Stewartville's formation. At that point, Coach Muller's taking a look. He's getting some information from the box, and he's going to go ahead and call a play from there. So this will play out as the game goes on, and we'll kind of see how it goes from there.
You know, for as much credit as we give this Kasson Mantorville offense, their defense is outstanding. Just think they held Stewartville to their lowest scoring output. And like I said, a play here or a play there, and that could have been a totally different game. I think Kasson Mantorville's path to victory has got to keep the ball out of Stewartville's hands. Unfortunately, on that first drive, 3 and out, they didn't do that. But they're going to want to put long drives together, keep it out of the offense, this offense that scores 52 points a game.
Yeah, for sure. Shorten the game has got to be the key for them tonight if they're going to pull this off.
Stewartville's drive, 9:05 less, first drive, 9:05 left in the first quarter. Helder's going to keep this one. He's following Caleb Jansen up as he's going to pick his way down to the Kasson Mantorville 23-yard line. And it's going to be 2nd down and about 3.
So we're going to see a lot of pulling linemen from Stewartville. They did that a lot in the first game that they played.
And they pulled the tackle and the guard.
Yeah, tackle and the guard, and they'll run just an old counter play. And a lot of times there's not even a back going left with the play coming right. Sometimes they just run the counter blocking scheme against this Kasson front because it does look pretty nice on paper. And if they can execute their angles correctly, it opens up some pretty nice holes.
Put Sickick out to the side. We got 3 wide receivers out there now. Helder looks to the sideline. It's Sickick, Malone, or Sickick, Cheddar, and I believe, Malone. As Helder's going to keep this one and uses his feet to get down inside about the 15-yard line as he's going to move the sticks. We saw Helder not so much the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, but he went, I think, 4 or 5 weeks with a rushing touchdown. We're starting to see that more.
Yeah, I think with the other teams keying so much on Owen Sickick that they're starting to find ways to use other weapons that are available in this offense. And Aiden Helder running the ball is one of those things that he can do it. He just hasn't had to do it a lot this point in the season. So using his athleticism is definitely something that we may see as the game goes on.
New set of downs. They send Malone in motion. He's going to the right side. Cheddar on the near side. Sickick behind Helder as he takes the snap right at the 20-yard line. They're going to hand that off. He's got Bryant Rindles in front of him. Sickick cuts it back. He spins, stays on his feet, and Owen Sickick puts himself in the Stewartville record books as only the 2nd non-quarterback with 30 touchdowns in one season, and that was a big one as on our first drive with 7:43 to go in the first quarter, Stewartville goes up 6-0, and wow, did he break a few tackles on that one, Coach.
Yeah, he ran real tough, and we had just mentioned the pulling linemen. Both pulling linemen did a good job of getting a piece of somebody. Owen got knocked down a little bit, but as we've seen all season, keeps his hand on the ground, keeps the feet churning, and chugs his way into the end zone there to put Stewartville up early.
What a run and great blocking out front. Rindles, I believe, was clearing the way as Parker Wangen's going to be on. Malone will snap. Cheddar will hold. Snap is good. Hold is good. Wangen puts it up, and it's right through the middle. And that's going to extend the lead by 1 as it's 7-0 with 7:43 to go in the first quarter. Stewartville drives down. They got a little bit of help on that third. I think it was coming into third down. The face mask gave us the new set of downs. And from there, Helder on his legs with the Owen Sickink effect. Defense keying in on him. And then right when you get to the 15-yard line, hand it off to your best playmaker, and he puts it in the end zone.
Yeah, the offensive coaching staff will be very pleased with that. Obviously, the opening drive of the game is always kind of a scripted set of plays that you want to execute well because you've practiced them all week. You kind of go with what you expect to see from the defense, and so for them to put the ball in the end zone right away after 6 to 8 plays, they're going to feel real good about that. If you're Kasson, you just regroup. You got a ton of game left here, and you just got to get some positive yards, get some first downs, and like we talked about, shorten that game a little bit. They need to get some first downs and keep the ball out of the Stewartville offense's hands.
Yeah, for as much as we talk about this Stewartville defense and the #1 scoring defense, this offense of Kasson Mantorville is so outstanding. It's one of those you probably won't stop them, but we need to contain them.
Yeah, exactly. That's got to be the key for Stewartville. I doubt they're early. They want a goose egg today. They want to pitch that shutout, but you kind of just know that Kasson's offense is real good.
Peterson and Ricky back. Peterson's going to take this one. He's got a good wedge out in front of him. He's going to try to bounce that to the left side, but Grayson Schneider's over there, as well as Taryn Conlon. And Kasson Mantorville will start their second drive at their own 29-yard line. 7:37 to go here in the first quarter. 7-0 Stewartville. And we'll see the second drive for this defense. The first drive for Kasson Mantorville ended in a 3-and-out. And we'll see what adjustments they made on the sideline as they come back out to face this #1 scoring defense in Class 4A for Minnesota. Jamie Hart on the left end here, Peyton Byrne in the middle. On the far side, Grayson Schneider. He holds that one, Nelson does. Hoot was getting held on the close side, it looked like. But Nelson, great job keeping that one and moving the sticks on a big gain.
Interesting little change there from Stewartville's defense. Most of the time, the outside linebacker is going to take the quarterback, and on that particular play, he went to the pitch man, and the alley player was probably responsible for the QB there. Was late to the ball, and there we saw first down.
Nelson under center, Barwald behind him. There's Barwald. We talked about him. He is tough to bring down.
This is exactly how this Kasson Mantorville offense works, is once you get one first down, it almost certainly adds
Like a
to 2 and 3.
effect.
Yeah, it really is. It just, you start to see them just gaining confidence. The offensive linemen, you can just kind of see the smiles on their faces as they're pounding the ball down the field.
Big back-to-back runs there by Nelson and Barwald makes it from their own 29 to the Stewartville 35 as Kasson Mantorville in only 2 plays is already starting to threaten. Nelson sends him in motion. Keeps that one, but great job by, I believe it was Hoot and Schneider. Drops him for a 2-yard loss. But we just saw 2 plays, the previous 2 plays. 2nd and 12 probably doesn't scare this Kasson Mantorville team, especially now down into 4-down territory, that they can pick up 15, 20 yards on one crack.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, is they just never are going to panic a whole lot, even when they are in a 2nd and long situation. Stick to their game plan all
Barwald
game.
only two yards behind. Nelson's gonna keep this one in his pocket. Great play there by Hoot. Number 18, he's been playing fabulous for us the last 3 weeks of the season. They moved Malone more to an offensive responsibility. That opened up the position there for Ian Hoot, a senior, to play that outside linebacker position, and he's done really well.
He's done an awesome job of being a secure tackler, being where he's supposed to be, and he probably earned that time. It takes nothing, away from Tegan, but it allows Tegan to focus on offense more, and Hoot gets to come in and secure that defensive spot.
3rd down and 9 on the Stewartville 34-yard line. Just under 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Stewartville leads 7-0. Nelson's going to send his guy in motion. Is he going to hand that one off to Barwald? He does! And boy, there's one of my favorite players on the defense. They call him Zippy. I call him Nighty Night. Caleb Jansen.
Yeah, he's been a stalwart all season long. And this is the type of game where he's going to be needed because he's gonna see that fullback coming at him all game, and he's got to be there to tackle Barwell.
Defense settling in a little bit. I'll tell you, I was impressed with Kasson Mantorville's passing game against us last time. He was 4 of 6 for 70 yards, and they ran a few good plays. One of them was where a guy ran a wheel route, and our defensive back had to hand off somebody running the post from the outside. It would essentially be, if we're looking at this one, the far side wide receiver ran a post, and the wing back ran the wheel. Oh, look at this. Torlunas is giving chase. Great job by the wide receiver, though, sitting down in an open spot. I'm going to get you the number here because he deserves credit. 82, I believe it was, Spencer Anderson.
Yeah, and just a great job by Nelson to square his shoulders as he's running left and able to throw just a P right on the mark.
Right-handed quarterback moving to left. We talk about that often.
It's a hard thing to do.
Head goes in motion. He's going to fake the pitch. It's a counter play. I believe that's Hoff. And Michael Hoff is going to get into the end zone. They fake the pitch strong the one way, and they counter back inside. We've seen that be very successful for this Komet offense as they answer back with 4:29 to go here in the first quarter.
Little inside counter, sally play, whatever you want to call it, but always a staple in an option offense like this. Get everybody thinking that the ball's going left, comes back inside to the right, and a good hard run there to get into the end zone.
Lars Ingram will be on to kick. He's a junior. Holding is Emmett Rickey, and Easton Seuss is going to be their long snapper. 7-6 Stewartville, 4:29 to go in the first quarter. Kasson Mantorville trying to tie it up. And they put it up, and that's right through. Good kick. As it is a tie game here in the Section 1 championship game for Minnesota Class 4A, and exactly like we expected. Two great teams. It's going to be a heavyweight fight, and there's going to be plenty of punches thrown, and we'll just see after 4 quarters who's standing at the end.
Absolutely. Kasson's got to be just fired up right now. Their coaches, again, you script out your first 10, 15 plays perhaps, and after going 3 and out, there can't be a better feeling in the world than going down the field, 65 yards, 75 yards for a touchdown to tie this game up.
And I know we talked about Kyle Nelson's big run to start the drive, and then Brock Barwell got it deep into Stewartville territory, but really that 4th down play where Nelson had to throw it, and you had Anderson sit down, because it was a little bit of a broken play. They had to break off their routes, find an open spot. He did a great job.
He really did. Yep, you got to tip your hat. And again, the defense wasn't bad. It was a pretty solid defense, but, you know, it happens all the time in sports. Your guys do the right thing, their guys do the right thing. And sometimes it's just whoever comes on top on that particular play. It's kind of what I love about sports, and seeing it 7-7 already.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. This is awesome.
And this will be the first time we see Stewartville's kickoff return. They housed the last 3 weeks, they housed their opening kickoff return. Back deep is Carter Miller and Owen Sickink. They're going to do the smart thing and probably pooch this one. Oh, my goodness, that's dangerous for Stewartville. It did go out of bounds, but if that would have popped back in bounds, I think Kasson Mantorville might have had a shot to pick that up.
Yeah,
but maybe not the worst call with Sickink and Miller back there. They're going to make them re-kick it. I hope they make an adjustment now, because they may do the same thing.
Yeah, I think we might see Kasson get a little creative with their kickoff team. Why not? Like you said, Sickink's returned several. We've seen Carter Miller bust through the baby powder the other night.
Right, against Winona.
Against
and then
Winona.
John Marshall took it to the house. Absolutely, 90 yards.
Yeah, so they're gonna maybe get a little creative.
Last week, Sickink took it 76 yards to start off that Byron section semifinal with a bang.
That said, going back a month, again, I'll probably refer to the last game these two teams played a lot in the broadcast here. But Kasson did a tremendous job of bottling up our kickoff return in that unit. So we'll see how it all unfolds. But that's in the past. But they do learn, they learn little things from that game, and they'll implement those things here.
They're going to just squib that one. They let it go. Sickink picks that one up. He kind of bobbles it, but he picks it up as he's an outstanding baseball player for us as well, as he gets it to the 35-yard line. But to your point, bottled them up. Good lane responsibility. They stayed in their lanes. They closed in on him. They got the tackle. Probably, one of our worst starting positions of the year.
For sure.
35-yard line. We'll still take it.
Yeah. One thing I'm going to be keeping my eye on here, I do think one of the advantages that Stewartville has in this game is the depth. And so early on, seeing the big haymakers coming out, one score for each team here early, doesn't surprise me. I want to see if the two teams can keep throwing, punches back and forth throughout the game, or if we start to see some of these big linemen from either team tire, but Stewartville's linemen get a little more of a rest.
They hand that one off to Sickink up the middle, and he's only going to pick up about 2 yards as he'll be 2nd down and 8, and alluding to Coach Meyer's point, 1 score apiece. It's 7-7 here at Rochester Mayo High School. About 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and this is Stewartville's 2nd drive. Their last drive went 52 yards, ended on an Owen Sickink 15-yard touchdown run, his 30th touchdown of the year, number 3. You'll see him in the backfield quite often tonight. Aiden Helder, an outstanding junior quarterback, 22 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, completing 70% of his passes. He sends Cheddar in motion to the right side. He takes the snap. It's a stretch play to Sickink out to right. He's following Peyton Byrne, but great backside pursuit there by the Kasson Mantorville defense. They shot that.
Yeah,
we had our blockers
window
out in front, but yeah, that window, they shot through it.
Yeah, as soon as they saw the pulling guard, linebacker just shot the window, got flat down the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly how they're going to have to stop the Stewartville running game. Tremendous job there.
I believe Emmett Rickey was there in a hot pursuit as one of their linebackers.
The other key to that play for Kasson Mantorville's defense is the defensive line has to hold strong. They can't get washed down, and they did a really nice job there of holding strong and making sure that they weren't getting pushed 3-4 yards down the field or sealed off to the left there on that particular play.
Kasson Mantorville runs like a 3-4, but they got that outside linebacker on the edge as Aiden Helder's going to roll to his left, try to square up his shoulder. A ball in the air, but great catch there by Henry Cheddar as he got just past the sticks. They marked him short. He was past the line, it looked like. They're a yard short, and Coach Muller, I think, is going to have to punt this one.
This will be a big decision here. Do you go for it? Your offense is powerful. With an offense like Kasson Mantorville runs, does it matter if they have to go 70 yards or 50 yards? There's a lot of different thoughts that go into this particular decision here.
Boy, this is a big play, 4th down and 1. They send Riggin in motion. Helder takes the snap, hands it to Sickink. He's going to bounce right. He gets through the first layer. He's still on his feet. And he gets all the way down to the Kasson Mantorville 41, as that is a huge 4th down pickup for Stewartville. We talked about the 4th down pickup for Kasson Mantorville and how that popped everything loose. Well, hopefully that does the same thing for us, Coach.
Yeah, we saw some straight ahead blocking there. We talked about a lot of pulling linemen. No pulling linemen on that one. We also saw a tremendous jump cut from Owen Sickink at the beginning of that play to avoid the penetrating defensive lineman, to find the hole, and then he we've seen that all season where he just picks up yards.
Another big run by the senior, Owen Sickink. Helder sends Riggin into motion on the right side. He's going to hand that one off to Sickink. Great block by Jansen. You know, I'll tell you something, when I've been watching film that Owen Sickink does really well. He's very patient behind his pulling guards, but then something that I didn't appreciate until this week, he sets the defender up looking like he's going to go right so that his blocker can get him that way, and then he cuts left and uses that blocker.
Yep, dip in, cut out, dip in, cut out. That's something that he's been taught. He listens, he's coachable. He's a great athlete, but when you add in the willingness to listen and get better, that's when you get greatness, and that's what we see out of him.
Great vision by the running back here, Owen Sickink. Our line is outstanding. You got Peyton Byrne at left tackle, Drew Anderson left guard, John Becker at center, Bryant Rindles right guard, and then Caleb Jansen out at right tackle. As it looks like Coach Muller is going to call his first timeout here with 1:06 to go in the first quarter. It's tied 7-7. Stewartville moving the ball, though. A new set of downs, 1st and 10. And if you know anything about Stewartville's broadcast, it's that we don't go to breaks, Coach.
No, we just keep talking.
That's right.
Well, we've seen 2 big 4th down pickups here from both teams, and both coaches know what's at stake. So it doesn't surprise me to see them pulling out their best stuff on 4th down, but a lot of fun to see early on.
I bring these notebooks not just because I write down all the scoring plays and notes, but I've been writing down notes from you. And if there's one thing I learned this year by standing next to you for the last 5 games, it's that you say nobody's better at calling a timeout and coming out of that timeout with the perfect play ball than Garrett Muller, the head coach for Stewartville.
Yeah, he obviously saw something that he didn't like, or he's thinking about something that he does like, and now we'll see what that is. If I'm Kasson Mantorville's coaching staff, though, whatever I had called that he saw, I'm getting out of it. So again, it's the cat and mouse game that's so fun about.
Trips right. Helder's going to hand that one off to Sickink off the right side. Wangen's out there blocking, but good job by 22. We've been saying his name a lot, Emmett Ricky. They gave Snow the overhead, gave Snow the tackle. Yeah, so whoever's keeping statistics at home, everything we say up here is unofficial anyway. Don't hold us to anything.
Neither one of us has a real good set of eyes on us, so
right?
we're telling you what we think we see.
We're just thankful the colors are so different that we know which team is which. Helder in the backfield. He's got Sickink just behind him a little bit, and to his left, trips to the left. He's going to pass this one. It's quick out to the side. There, Sickink gets it, cuts it back as Colton Parker was doing a good job blocking. Tackle made by Kasson Tomey and Emmett Ricky.
Yeah, Tomey and Ricky did a nice job there. It's one of the things that I was super impressed with just doing some film study is Kasson's open field tackling and rallying to the ball is better than any team that we've seen this year. They're tremendous effort and just good fundamentals.
I think the end of the first quarter, as it is a tie game, it is tight here at the Section 1 Class 4A Championship for Minnesota. Stewartville 7, Kasson Mantorville 7. Stewartville driving as they will flip the fields and we'll go in to the second quarter. Coach, 3rd down and 5. This is a big play. They don't want to get to, 4th down and 5. They can make it 4th down and 2, 4th down and 3. You also got Parker Wangen, one of the better kickers we've seen in a while, as an option. He kicked a field goal in the last Kasson Mantorville game. What do you think here?
I don't know.
I mean, Kasson Mantorville defense is bottling up a lot of our stretch plays.
They really are. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little, the one thing that I noticed worked an awful lot the last time these two teams played, and we saw it earlier, is the little 7-yard hitch route to Henry Cheddar. So maybe something like that. But again, how do you take the ball out of Owen Sickink's hands? That's that's always a good option to go there as well.
To me, I think what I would run, and hopefully Kasson Mantorville's not listening, I would run that tight trips to the right, and I would have Carter Miller kind of going out into the flat.
Sure.
Maybe have an option, a slant to the middle too. If he's not open, maybe something else like Colton Parker can sit down in the middle. I don't know. But that's something that we've seen 4 or 5 yards that we've been gaining. Unless they motion into some different package, we're probably not going to see it here because they got Cheddar on the far side. You got Tegan Malone on the near side, and you got Colton Parker at the tight end position. Here comes Malone in motion. They're going to fake the jet sweep. It's a play to Sickink. He's trying to get to the outside, but Kasson Tomey comes up to make the tackle with the help of Evan Snow. And he's dropped as it's going to be 4th down and about 4. They need to get just past the 20-yard line. Again, I guess if the nose of the ball touches the 20-yard line, we're good.
Yeah, a tremendous job again by Kasson Mantorville's defensive line. Just stringing it out, not giving ground, and staying flat to the ball.
Tight trips to the left. Will we see it here maybe, Coach? They're going to look to the sideline, and this may be another opportunity if Coach Muller's got 2 timeouts. No, he's calling the play in. Tegan Malone on the near side all alone. Tight trips to the left. You got Sickink behind Helder. Helder's going to pass this one. It's a quick hitch to Malone. Great play to get past the sticks, keep his feet in bounds, and keep those chains moving, Coach.
So that backside receiver is always going to kind of have one-on-one coverage. They might be in man-to-man coverage. They might be in some kind of a soft zone, but we're always going to see one-on-one coverage here on the single receiver side, and Coach Muller knows that. He's going to take advantage of that whenever he can.
I'm Adam Peterson up here with Coach Aaron Meyer. Stewartville, Kasson Mantorville, Section 1 championship game. It is tied 7-7, 11-13 to go in the second quarter. If you're tuning in, we appreciate all the support that we're getting out there, whether it's Kasson Mantorville, whether it's Stewartville, or beyond. It doesn't matter. This is a great night for football as Sickink gets this one off the right side following Peyton Byrne, and Carter Jansen's on the floor. So is Byrne. Everybody's flying around, battling for every yard as you're going to need to do tonight between 2 of the top teams in the state.
Yeah, and 2 of the best offensive and defensive lines that we're going to see. These guys are going to be tired and sore after the game because they are going at it in the trenches. And as an old line coach, I just love it. It's where my eyes are going to be most of the night is on these 2 lines going at each other.
And speaking of all eyes, in the middle of that defensive line, maybe PJ Fleck, Coach Fleck is watching 76. Is headed to Minnesota next year. His off tackle goes Helder. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Jeremiah Peterson flying through the air like Superman to make that tackle. I don't know if he was flying over a blocker or what, but he brought Helder down, but Helder did get the first down. It's going to be 1st and goal from the 3-yard line, and we've seen it a number of times. We'll call it what Coach Muller calls it, the Owen Sickick effect. You have to account for wherever he is on the field, and when the defense shifts that way, that's a perfect opportunity for Helder to pull it and go the opposite.
Absolutely. He's just, you got to know where he's at. And so
who are you giving the ball to here, Coach? Let me tell you, number 3, and he's going to follow that left side, who's been so powerful this year as they get into the end zone for a second touchdown of the game, and the Tigers lead this one 13-7 as the celebration ensues on a packed sideline here over here on the Stewartville crowd side. Kasson Mantorville also brought a good section. They're the ones you see in the camera. The ones you hear probably are Stewartville on our side.
Couple big 4th down plays there to march down the field. Key situations, key plays, and good execution by Stewartville to keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving, and put points on the board.
And there's Wangen. Good snap, good hold. Malone to Cheddar, and Wangen puts it through. 3 of our starters on the basketball team. Great to see them out here, though, on the turf as we increase our lead 14-7 with 10:10 to go in the second quarter. And I think we saw a little bit of the Winona game, the methodical marching down the field. We had a couple 4th down plays that we needed to come through, and we did it.
Yeah, it's not always big plays, big chunk plays. Sometimes you just got to do it 3 yards at a time, and we kind of saw that on that particular drive.
If you're just tuning in, it's 10-10 left in the second quarter. There's been 4 drives. Kasson Mantorville received the opening kickoff. Stewartville's defense held tight. It was a 3-and-out. Stewartville would get the ball. They would drive it from their own 48. The drive would go 52 yards. It would end on a 15-yard touchdown run by an Owen Sickick. That made Stewartville go up 7-0. Then Kasson Mantorville answered back. A couple big conversions on 1st down. Hoff 20 yards out on a beautiful counter play. The extra point was good. That tied it up 7-7. That was the score at the end of the first quarter. Here early in the second quarter, we just saw Owen Sickick score from 3 yards out. That made it 14-7 Stewartville. And Parker Wangen's going to line it up as Kasson Mantorville will receive the kickoff back deep for them as they've been. Peterson and I believe Ricky is back there. He is. And Ricky's going to take this one deep. He catches it at his own 10-yard line. He gets to the right side, and boy, he's a dangerous returner as he gets all the way up to about the 39-yard line, I'll say. And that tackle was made by Jace Klug over on the sideline. Jace Klug, what an outstanding sophomore season he's had. 2 interceptions. One of those he housed against Mankato East in week 1.
Yeah, and showing up on special teams here in a big situation. So we saw Kasson Mantorville's kickoff return team get some real nice returns against Stewartville in the first game. And here we see him getting out all the way to the 40-yard line. They got to be feeling good about that.
So Kasson Mantorville, this will be their 3rd drive. The last one, the first 2 plays of the last drive was that Kasson Mantorville offense that you get real worried about, those big yardage runs, because you're trying to find who has the ball. Barwald behind Nelson. Right up the middle, it's Barwald. Wangen, I think, was the one that brought him down.
Interesting play there from Kasson. Everything motion-wise looked like it might be coming left, and there the quarterback and fullback went right, just with a simple dive play. Just, going against maybe some of their tendencies, and it picked up 5 yards. So something interesting to see from Kasson's coaches there.
Michael Hoff, near side flex back. Snow on the far side. They send. Oh, Grayson Schneider stops that one. Nelson didn't know what to do because we had a whole push off that left side.
It was almost like Nelson and Bardwell got swallowed up with by the same 2 guys there.
Schneider coming off the field. You hope he's okay. Rindle's coming off as well. They do a good job of rotating in that defensive line to keep our big cats fresh, especially you talked about the depth. We have it. And as this game wears on, this is a big 3rd down right here. On their side of the field, Coach, I think we have to keep it, more than 4th down and about 3. Otherwise, they go for it, I believe.
I think you're right.
They sent him in motion. Nelson's going to keep this one. Is he going to be able to get the edge? It looks like he's going to. Wangen's going to come up, but not before Nelson gets across the 50-yard line, and that earns Kasson Mantorville a first down.
Well, we talk so often about how it's a game of inches, and on that particular play, Nelson was inches away from being grabbed and brought down in the backfield, and really, Kasson Mantorville's blockers were inches away from not being able to get their reach blocks that they successfully did. So, again, pretty good defense, but a better offensive play, and I've said it before, I'll say it again as the night goes on. I love it. I just think it's fun. Two good football teams.
Yep.
Going at each other here.
Body punches.
Yes.
A lot of body punches going on right now.
Gotta love it.
There's Barwald. And great stop off the right side by Henry Cheddar, who came up from a safety position to make that play.
So he picks up 1.5 yards, and again, he kind of had to jump cut right at the beginning. When you're as big and powerful as Bardwell is, you don't want to be, going sideways, and there he had to start with a sidestep right away. Good job by Stewartville's defensive line.
2nd down and 8. You got to consider a 2-yard gain a win against this offense. Hoff on the near side. Snow on the far side. Barwald right behind as they send Hoff in motion. And a flag goes on the field. And Peyton Byrne is pointing it out. I don't think the refs need help on that one, though. There's about 2 flags that went. Oh, they called it on us. So, Kasson Mantorville gets 5 free yards, and it's going to be now 2nd down and about 3.
Which is exactly where their offense loves to be. 2nd and 3, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1. They're comfortable in all of those situations.
Yeah, we've seen Kyle Nelson definitely grow into this offense, taking over for an outstanding quarterback in Matt Donovan, led their team last year to the state final. I keep getting thrown off every time I hear those people pounding the bleachers. I think somebody's knocking at the door as they handle off to Barwald right up the middle. And nighty-night, Caleb Jansen says, as he pops up and he's fired up. A big stop. You want to talk about the hardest hit I think I've seen since Alex Larson against Faribault last year. Caleb Jansen last week against a Byron running back.
Yeah, that was incredible, and we were both disappointed that the flag came out. And probably almost felt sorry for the young man that took the hit on that.
Stewartville trying to get aligned here. Kasson Mantorville still comfortable here, 3rd and 4. They send Snow in motion. Oh, he trips over him. He's down on the ground. Stewartville's trying just not to fall on him. We don't need any more penalties, as it's now going to be 4th down and 8. Unfortunate play there for the Komets with 7 minutes to go in the first half. Stewartville leading 14-7. Komets were driving down. They got it down to 3rd and 3. And then it falls backwards as he got stepped on.
Yeah, he got stepped on and fell down. The receivers were both covered up downfield. I'm not sure if there was an underneath route available to him or if he would have been able to run, but the secondary was there and did a pretty good job of covering up.
I don't know what punt safety Coach May has in play, but you got to figure you'd almost think let this one go in. No, he's going to field it. Sicking's going to field it, and it was a low kick. He's going to get to the left side. He's trying to get to the sideline. Easton Seuss on pursuit, but good job by Sicking to take it from about the 20-yard line, get a 20-yard return to the 40. There's a flag, and it sounds like from our spotter that it might be on us with a crackback. You got to lead with your hands if you're going to do that. You can't lower your shoulder. They're going to call that here in high school football.
It's a new thing that all the players and coaches got to get used to.
So 6:25 to go here. We're going to see where Stewartville's going to start their 3rd drive. The last 2 have ended up in the end zone. 6:25 to go in the 2nd quarter. Stewartville up 14-7. As we will begin this drive deep in our own territory. They're doing the math. They set it down right at the 28-yard line. I really wish they put the tip of the ball at the 28 so we could do the math, but now,
Make you guess a little bit.
I got a brother-in-law that's a football referee, and he goes, yeah, if it's close, we like to put it there too. So he's the guy that used to stand right by the linebackers.
Okay.
Now they got him in the backfield.
Sure, yep.
What do they call those, umpires?
That's where we need Coach Hughes up here to.
Yeah, right. He could be like Mike Pereira as they hand it off to Sickink on the right side. And great play there by number 4, Jeremiah Peterson. He came off the edge, made the tackle, and dropped Sicking for a loss of 2 or 3 yards, which you do not see very often.
Not very often. He really he had to make a decision if he was going to cut inside the penetrating defender or try to bounce out. He decided to try to bounce out, and just a great job there by the KM defender to trip him up.
Owen Sicking, a guy that averages almost 10 yards a carry, has only had a couple of those that reach that average. That one for a 2-yard loss is it's 2nd and 12 on Stewartville's own 30-yard line. They send Sicking in motion. They fake the jet sweep. Helder's going to keep this one. He's got a little bit of room, but it closed down pretty fast as the big man, Reese Tripp, and also number 78, Anton Elias.
Tripp is just a strong young man. He's fun to watch on film. On offensive line, he's given the Peyton Byrne treatment where he's racking up pancakes, and on defense he's just so hard to move. He's a strong young man for sure.
Yeah, talk about the Owen Sicking effect. How about the Reese Tripp effect? You're going to have to put 2 guys on him almost every time. Just so strong as Helder throws that one up and just out of the reach of Henry Chetterin. What a stand by Kasson Mantorville after having that unfortunate 3rd down play and needing to punt. They get their first 3 and out, as Stewartville will see our punt team for the first time with 5:04 left in the first quarter or first half. 14-7 Stewartville.
And Adam, you just mentioned the Reese Tripp effect, and there he was, double teamed and still getting penetration in Aiden Helder's face. Not necessarily able to make the sack, but again, with how tall he is, I don't think Aiden could see as well as he wanted to, and it just made it a real tough pass for him to complete.
Yeah, he pushed his way upfield, and give Reese Tripp credit. I remember reading an article that I think it was sophomore year, maybe a little bit overweight, got himself in shape, got a little bit more athletic, got stronger, and you saw it pay dividends as PJ Fleck offered him on the spot, and he accepted as he's going to be rowing the boat for the Gophers next year as they will continue to try to work that development for old 76 there that you see in the middle. So delay of game here by Stewartville. Back deep for the Komets, it's going to be Jeremiah Peterson as well as number 15, Aiden Smith. Smith, one of their top defensive backs. You heard me talk about him in the pregame show, leads their team in interceptions as Stewartville packs it in tight. Wangen's going to be punting this one away. That one's up in the air. Smith it looked like he waved a fair catch on that. He did, okay. He still had quite a bit of room if he wanted to return that, but that might have been the call from the coaching staff. Listen, we're close to midfield. Make sure, a sure catch, and let's try to get our offense going with just under 5 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah, depending on what, your special teams philosophy is, a lot of times you just get the ball back to our offense and let's go.
So Kasson Mantorville is going to start this drive down 7 points. It's 14-7 Stewartville, 4:58 to go in the second quarter. Thanks to everybody tuning in to this incredible game here at Rochester Mayo High School. Beautiful facilities, 2 of the top teams in the state. And Kasson Mantorville will start on their own 47-yard line. They're going to keep that one. Oh, it's on the ground. Oh, is that Peyton Byrne? Turnover chains coming out. What a play. Give credit to our defensive lineman, though, that was coming upfield. Nelson tried to keep it. The ball goes on the ground, and boy, does that favor Stewartville.
Yeah, that's a huge play in this game. It's kind of cliche, but you always talk about who's going to win the turnover battle, and there we see our first one right there. That's, after getting the ball back and stopping Stewartville's offense, to cough it up and give it back, it's going to be a little demoralizing.
And if I've seen Coach Muller the past few years, this is sometimes where he takes a shot to the end zone, Coach. You wonder if you don't put, somebody out there.
Yep, little sudden change, maybe take a shot.
Especially with how good Kasson Mantorville's been doing with bottling up Owen Sicking in the backfield. Tight trips to the left side. Helder's they're going to run a stretch play to the left side as he's following Rindals, and he runs over somebody as Michael Hoff makes the tackle. And I was nervous that Sicking was hurt there. It was taking them a while to get back up on their feet as Sicking gains about 7, 2nd down and 3 to go on the Kasson Mantorville 33-yard line. The clock is ticking, 4:28 to go in the first half. Stewartville up 7.
We see Stewartville in that tight bunch set an awful lot, and you're real good at complimenting those guys for their blocking, and on that particular play, they were just dialed in helping Owen pick up some yards.
Wangen on the far side. You got Colton, Parker, Evan Riggin, and Malone on the near side now in a trips formation. Helder's going to keep this one, but oh my goodness, we talked about him. He looks like an eclipse. And that time, he just came right through and snuffed that play out. Great play by Reese Tripp.
Yeah, you could see we talked about how strong and powerful he is, and he had a single blocking situation there, and that was just not enough to slow him down.
After picking up 8 on the first down, we lose 3 there, and it's now 3rd down and 5. Ball is right at the 35-yard line. We need to get just past the 30-yard line. I'm surprised we haven't gone through more through the air, but, I mean, Kasson Mantorville does have some outstanding defensive backs. We talked about Tomey. We talked about Snow. I know Kyle Nelson's back there. He had 2 interceptions against Winona. We'll see what happens here on 3rd and 5. You got Riggin and Sickink in the backfield, and there's Coach Muller using one of his 2 timeouts he has left to kind of talk this one over. 3:21 to go here in the second quarter, and this is another one of those pivotal plays.
Yeah, and kind of going back to your, your comment on running the ball and keeping it on the ground, I wonder if the weather leading up to this game had any impact on how we're, attacking the Kasson Mantorville defense at this point, knowing that there was a lot of rain in the forecast for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I have no insight on that.
Yeah.
I didn't get any special knowledge. But
what, they aren't calling us? What's going on there?
I know. What the heck?
Yeah, they have our number.
But,
I'm glad you brought that up, because when it was raining this morning, all I could think about are these conditions favor Kasson Mantorville. You got the turf field, which they play on at home games all year long. You got cold weather, and you had a little bit of rain, which favors usually running teams.
Yeah.
Our team is very balanced, dynamic, both on the run and through the air. But if I was a little bit nervous, I was hoping the rain obviously is holding off. We don't have it right now. But to your point, is the turf a little bit wet? Like, what's going on?
Sure.
Is this the game plan? I don't know.
Or will they open it up a little bit here as they see it's not raining? Let's go back to some of the stuff that we've been successful with in past weeks.
Because the last time we played these guys, Aiden Helder threw the ball 24 times. As Wangen goes in motion, it's a counter to Sickink to the left side, and he's going to pick up a first down, and he shifts his hips there. And he gets all the way down to about the 18-yard line. What a play. They faked the jet sweep to Wangen, tried to get people moving to our right, and Sickink went to the left, and he had blockers out in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Good blocking scheme up front. Got the job done. And again, anytime the ball is in Owen Sickink's hands, good things usually happen.
We talked about this fantastic defensive line. You got Seuss and Tripp up there, 2 of the best defensive linemen in the Big Southeast District. And we've seen where they've had a lot of successes. If they can get to us at the line of scrimmage or just behind, that they once we get past that first level, good things can happen. Quick snap there. They're getting outside. Great seal block by Riggin. Sickink lowers his shoulder and delivers a pop to Kasson Tomey as he says, I'm not just a, shifty running back. I'll lower my shoulder and pick up another few yards if I need to. Gain 9 on that one, Coach. 2:48 to go here in the first half as Stewartville's going to try to punch one in here before halftime, because Stewartville will receive the second half kickoff.
And a little wrinkle there, coming out quick, a little bit of an unbalanced line, and they just go quick.
Quick snap there. Sickink, boy, he gets slammed to the ground there by Reese Tripp, who's having a heck of a first half. Big players make big plays in big games, and you're seeing it from both sides of the ball as we get dropped for about a 1 or 2 yard loss.
Absolutely. You can just tell how much this game matters to both sides right now. You can just, we're 60 yards away, but you can just see the intensity out there.
Win or go home, and these are, like we talked about, 2 of the best teams, not only in the area, the entire state of Minnesota. As we got the Moose package in there, he sends Grayson Schneider to the right. He's going to do a counter handoff to the left. Sickink should have popped that way outside. He had nothing but green outside. He tried to jump his way over the middle, and unfortunately, that's going to bring down a 4th down. And what do you think, Coach? A long 2?
Yeah, 1.5, 2 yards. Again, another huge
ticks.
play.
I'm surprised Kasson Mantorville doesn't use one of their timeouts here. They have 3. Kasson Mantorville has 3 timeouts. Stewartville gets up to the line quick. You'll see if they can draw them off sides. I bet it's going to be a hard count. Kasson Mantorville disciplined at the defensive line. They look over to Coach Muller. 13 seconds on the play clock. How nice is that to have that under the end zone? I haven't seen that yet. That was the first time I looked. 1:33 to go, and I bet Coach Muller calls a timeout here. Here he comes out. And there he does. He burns his final timeout of the first half as we got the clock all the way down to 1:27. We'll recap it for you. It's 4th down, and we'll say a long 2. 1:27 to go, 14-7 Stewartville. As we're trying to score, we being a Stewartville broadcast here, the Tigers are trying to score before halftime. As like I said, we'll get the ball coming out of halftime. Coach, what do you do here? They've been doing such a phenomenal job. You wonder if you move Helder out of the pocket, give him some options, not only to run the ball to maybe to the wide side of the field on the left, but also have some people, flowing that way at different levels.
Yeah, Kasson Mantorville's really clogged up the middle here on this particular drive, and I just wonder if you're right. If we get outside a little bit, maybe go back to that little hitch route that we saw earlier. That kind of seems to be a go-to in these key situations.
The other thing you think about, knowing this game's going to be close, you wonder, hey, we don't need a turnover here with some big play potential. Keep it on the ground, to your point before, maybe make them go 90 yards. 1:27 to go. But Kasson Mantorville does have all 3 timeouts. That's going to be a snap. It's going to be off the left side. They're trying to pursue him. Owen Sicking's patient, follows his blockers, gets down to the 5-yard line. And the chains move, and this will be first down and goal. As we've seen Sicking a couple times get up a little bit slow. Oh, that's Riggin getting up slow. I saw the 3. I think both of them were a little bit. Riggin's limping off. He's been a dynamic H-back for us, leading the way for Sicking's outstanding season this year. Likely almost, he's got to be close to over 1,000 yards. He had 921 coming into this. We got the moose package out there. Grayson Schneider moves to the right, and they're going to do a counter play to the left. Owen Sicking gets into the end zone, as that is another touchdown for Sicking. And can you believe this, Coach? 10 straight games for the dynamic playmaker, Owen Sicking, 3 or more touchdowns.
Yeah, that's quite a statistic there. Wonder if I can get him on my fantasy team by the Sunday here. I need some points.
You'll have to trade your entire lineup if somebody else has him. 20-7 for Stewartville as Sicking. How many times have we said this? 3 touchdowns in the first half. Only 1 game as he played the second half, and it was against this Kasson Mantorville team, and he'll need to do it tonight. As the snap is good, Cheddar gets the hold down, and Wangen puts it through. 90% on extra points there, and he's doing outstanding tonight as he's 3 for 3. And Stewartville bridges that gap to 14 points. 21-7, but Kasson Mantorville, we know they have big play potential, and watch, you key on that run long enough, don't get caught sleeping, as they might let it fly.
Yeah, they're going to come out here. They got to try to at least move the ball a little bit, try to pick up a first down and make a decision. Obviously, with only 1:03 to go, their offense isn't necessarily set up to chuck the ball all around a whole lot. But we saw last time these two teams played that they can do it when they need to. And Stewartville's going to have to be prepared to try to stop this offense here and go into half with that 2-touchdown lead.
So Stewartville on that second drive of Kasson Mantorville, they did struggle a little bit. There were a couple big plays there. Kasson Mantorville did get it all the way down, got it in the end zone. The last drive, boy, did we take advantage of that Peyton Byrne fumble recovery. We're able to punch it in the end zone on a couple scary plays. We got dropped for a loss, and we got a long 3rd down, then a 4th down play. We called timeout. Coach Muller came out, got it done. Moose package took us the rest of the way as it's 21-7, 1:03 to go in the second quarter. Stewartville's about to kick off for what, the 4th time tonight? And you're going to see Parker Wangen. Back deep, little switch. I believe Kasson Tomey is back there now to help Jeremiah Peterson. They're going to give Ricky a little bit of a break. Wangen's got a pretty good leg on him, gets it usually down to the opponent's 10-yard line. That one's a little bit more of a pop-up kick. It's at the 11, just like I guess I called it. Tomey's going to field this one. And Dylan Hoot says they're going nowhere, Tomey, just past the 20-yard line. He was fantastic last week on special teams, Dylan Hoot was.
We've talked about watching these players get better every week, and Dylan Hoot is one of those players that you and I have just seen blossom into an amazing special teams player. Last week made 3 beautiful tackles, and already tonight, isn't that his second one?
That is.
So
yeah,
that's,
big one down here on our left side.
Yeah, it's
there are
just fun to
59
see.
seconds to go. We'll see how Kasson Mantorville approaches this. They do have all 3 timeouts, so I can't imagine Coach Swanson is all that nervous to start out. Big play potential from this rushing attack. Nelson's going to be under center. Barwald behind him as he's been all night. They're going to send Hoff into motion. They do hand that one off to Barwald, but here has about 5 or 6 Tigers there, and it was all led by our big man, Peyton Byrne. We talked about Peyton Byrne last week. I tell you, I've seen a lot of great linemen come through Stewartville, and he's at the top of the list for me. So athletic. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, but he's got this tenacity to him. As Kasson Mantorville's not going to call a timeout, as they walk their play in here. 30 seconds to go, down 14. Do you think they take a shot here, or do you think they just run it again and let the clock?
Well, just judging by that
Count
last
down.
play, it looks like they're just going to go into half, talk things over, and come out ready to go.
Nelson keeps that one. Holy cats, was that Drew Anderson flying, trying to make the tackle? Burns' helmet comes flying off, and Rindles is going to come on to give him a break as Nelson picks up about 6, and we got 3 seconds to go. And Stewartville sidelines got to be happy with that first half, Coach. 21 points against an outstanding Kasson Mantorville defense. Kasson Mantorville did put up the one good drive. They got 7. It's 21-7 Stewartville. Going into halftime, the Tigers will receive the second half kickoff. Quick thoughts before we give you a break, Coach.
Yeah, just thinking the big plays in that first half, the fourth down conversions by both teams, 2 by Stewartville, 1 by Kasson Mantorville, and just the turnover.
Oh, yeah.
Just when Kasson had a chance to get the ball back and perhaps go down and tie the game again.
Yeah.
Instead, Stewartville jumps on a fumble with a short field and takes it in and goes up by 2 touchdowns. That's the turning point, right?
That is, absolutely. And we're gonna take it to break. We're gonna let you guys maybe get some hot chocolate, maybe some popcorn, because you are in store for an incredible second half. We are just 2 quarters away from punching somebody's ticket to the Class 4A state tournament. And I'm Adam Peterson with Coach Aaron Meyer. We're signing off here for about the next 10 or 12 minutes, and we'll be back for second half action here at Rochester Mayo High School. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, welcome back, football fans. We are here at Rochester Mayo High School, and it is going to be second half action for the Class 4A Section 1 championship game between the Stewartville Tigers, Kasson Mantorville Komets. I'm Adam Peterson. Alongside me, Coach Aaron Meyer. And boy, we got treated to a great first half here between two of the best teams in the state, Komets, Tigers. If you're a Tiger fan, you're liking where we're sitting now. It's 21-7 in favor of Stewartville, and they will be receiving the kickoff here to start the second half. Any thoughts on that first half, Coach?
Just impressed with both teams with how well they prepared, got ready for each other. The effort level was unbelievable from our perspective. It was just a really fun half to watch. Basically one mistake, a dropped option exchange by Kasson Mantorville made a huge difference in that half. And instead of Kasson going down to possibly tie the game up, we saw Stewartville end up with a short field to end the scoring at the very end of the second quarter to go up 21-7.
So Kasson Mantorville will get their kickoff team all lined. Like you talked about, big fumble recovery there by Peyton Byrne. That was the difference there in the first half, I think, especially with Stewartville's ability to score. You saw that kind of, if you watched their state tournament game last year, their state championship game against Hutchinson. I remember, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, 7-0 or 14-0. And Brooks Buchanan had a huge return down inside, deep inside Hutchinson territory. And unfortunately, a handoff to the running back got, I don't know if he hit the lineman or what happened, but there was a fumble. Hutchinson recovered, drove down, and instead of it being, either, I can't remember if it was going to be 7-7 or 14-7, it then turned into like a 2 or 3 score game. So those turnovers, and that's the first one we've seen here from Kasson Mantorville or Stewartville playing each other after 6 quarters.
Yeah, Kasson Mantorville puts so much time and effort into running this triple option offense effectively, and they're so good at it. You just don't expect to see a mistake here and there, and it just happens. It's just how football goes, and so we'll see how the second half goes. But we'll definitely be paying attention to how a turnover might swing the momentum.
They're going to kick that one a little bit short. Owen Sickink, terrible bounce for Stewartville, but sometimes that could be helpful as Sickink's going to try to get around to the right side, make some people miss. He does. He's going to bring it back across. Oh, he just got absolutely demolished by somebody. Somebody was on his legs. It was number 82, Spencer Anderson, and then somebody came and finished him off.
Good pursuit there by Kasson's kickoff team to just stay with it. As you mentioned, sometimes those are the most dangerous ones. For those guys to hang in there, run their lanes, and continue to pursue a tremendous athlete. They did a great job tackling him inside the 20.
I think the question that a lot of people hopefully hope that our coaching staff had the answer to is, how do you stop Reese Tripp coming up the middle? He had such a big push and disrupted a lot of plays for us.
Well, we saw the one play where he was triple teamed and he still got Naden Helder's face, and then we saw him get single teamed, and that was an even worse situation. So they're going to have to
drops
figure
back to
something out.
passing. Oh, he throws that one up. Oh, he's got his shirt. Yeah, the flag comes out as Ricky was on the coverage of Owen Sickink going right down the middle, and he had a hold of his shirt. I think Sickink had a step on him, and I guess here in high school football, they may be the better option with only a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, and really he had great position. He was right there. He was on his hip, and it looked like he was going to be able to bat that ball down, but just got a little grabby with the left hand.
Boy, I got a little nervous there. Evan Snow came flying through on the blitz, and Helder had to get rid of it probably a little bit earlier than he expected to. But with Sickink leaving the backfield and taking that seam route, that usually he's the guy that picks up that blitzer.
Yeah, he'd be a blitz pickup guy. He can always chip in and help. And we talked, kind of off air about how we were surprised by how much Stewartville ran the ball, and right out of half, there we see a shot.
So first down and 10. It's at the Stewartville 33-yard line. As pre-snap, they're going to switch to that tight trips left. We saw a lot of stretch plays out of this, and we're going to see one here again. As great seal block there by Anderson. Spin move by Sickink, and he throws somebody to the side as he picks up about 11, and the chains continue to move as Stewartville inches closer and closer to midfield.
I'm always impressed at how Owen Sickink gets hit at the 40 and still end up, getting tackled at the 45. He's slippery, he's wiry, he's strong. He just keeps those legs moving. And there we see him get, picked up the first down kind of on his own.
Colton Parker is having to come off. something with the equipment issue, I believe, as Drew Jelinik's going to be on the field. And now for your personnel, you got Malone and Cheddar as your wide receivers. Drew Jelinik is the new tight end who's actually split out wide with Riggin. They got 3 to the near side, Malone alone on the far side. Helder doing a good job making sure they got their splits right as he's going to take that quarterback draw. Good job. Late flag coming in from the backside. I would imagine holding of some sort. Do you think, Coach?
Yeah, whenever the back judge throws that flag, it's usually holding.
I was thinking if I'm standing on the sideline and Colton Parker's coming off with a knee pad missing, I'm going to say, take mine. I'm going to probably be over here for most of the game. You take mine.
Yeah, most coaches have stories about guys being like, here, take my helmet or take my shoes. You know, I can remember that happening several times, you know, when I was the head coach. And, you know, I will say this. If you know you're not getting in the game, any way you can help the team. And if that's
Absolutely.
what it is, like you are trying to help the team in any way you can. So it's always interesting to see which guys are willing to give up their shoe or their helmet or whatever it might be.
Colton Parker back on the field, and now we see just the same formation, just flipped. You got trips to the right, Henry Cheddar alone on the left side. Aiden Helder back on a first down at 15. Sicking takes a handoff off the right side, finds a seam, and oh boy, look at that vision! Did you see it? You could see his head turn all the way from up here, looking for an alley, and there's the best playmaker you see in southeastern Minnesota, making something happen on first down and 15, Coach.
You talked about it earlier, how he dips in and dips out, and he did it really well there. Little cut to the left, dive to the right, keep the legs moving, and 20-yard pickup.
Great blocking there by the front line. I'm nervous, Peyton Byrne looking like something's, is his shoe not on or just threw something to the sideline? Who knows? Lucas Maynard coming on the field his first time out there tonight. Oh my goodness, Peyton, see there it was, see that's why. Easton Seuss. We were just talking about how I messed up Coach Razzle messed up one of his videos, accidentally called Easton Peyton in one of them. Peyton, an outstanding volleyball player that's playing at Wake Forest right now, also sister Maya, never messed that one up. But Easton Seuss there leads the team in tackles for loss, got another one there as he dropped us for a 4-yard loss. 10 minutes to go, Stewartville up 21-7. Came off that edge fast, Coach. I don't know if
just you know, you talked about his athletic sisters. He's a stud athlete himself, and coming flat down the line, making the play.
They're sicking off the left side. Boy, Colton Parker's driving Kasson Mantorville player down the field. And not only does Easton Seuss do a good job getting in the backfield, like I said, he leads the team in tackles for loss. I believe he has 2 or 3 sacks. But because of his length, even if he doesn't get back, I saw several games where he's getting his hand on ball passes out to either into the flat or swing passes because of that length.
Yeah, I've been super impressed with him on the couple games that I've watched, and then here tonight, just seeing the havoc he's wreaking on the defensive line is incredible to see.
We have not seen Carter Miller out there as much, have we? Trips far to the right, stabs to the right, goes to the left. He's got a whole bunch of blockers, but heck of a play there by number 3. Is that Brock Barwald on defense? But he's limping off now. They have their best running back out there at linebacker, and now he's limping off.
Well, he's a tough young man. If he can get back out there, you know, you and I both know he'll get out there as soon as he can.
Especially with him being a senior, and you know, it's win or go home at this point here in the section championship game at Rochester Mayo. 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Stewartville leads 21-7. They took the opening kickoff. They've been driving down the field here, 3-minute drive and counting. Sicking's in the backfield with Helder, and they are gonna move to 4 seconds. They're gonna have to snap this ball. They get the play off with 1 second to go, and Sicking bounces to the left side. And he gets what he can before Kasson Tomey pushes him out at around the 20-yard line. And he'll make it about 2nd and 5.
Some zone blocking there. Again, I've been expecting to see the pulling guards and the counter blocking scheme up front, but there we just get straight zone, and Owen was able to slip underneath the defensive end and pick up a good 4 yards.
Now remind me, we used a lot of zone blocking schemes against Byron with that radar defense. Is that right?
Exactly. All the guys are going to step in the same direction and just, you know, kind of block an area more than block a player.
Helder takes a snap, hands it off to Sicking. He finds a crease, but he trips up over one of his own guys as Peyton Byrne sends somebody about 8 yards in the air. I don't know. what is going on there? That looked like the play was still happening. We call it finishing plays. Coach Muller calls it penalties of aggression. Unfortunately, that's going to move us back. We're waiting for the ref. It looks like they're having a conference. Hopefully they're having a conference on whether or not that should actually be a penalty. Maybe they'll pick the flag up. The thing is it always looks worse because Peyton's sending him 5 yards in the air. It's not a cheap shot. He had his hands and he extended, but you know, when it's 10, 15 yards away from the play, sometimes the refs don't like that.
Yeah, and it's always a subjective call when it's when the whistle happens and when the last push happens. And, you know, Kasson thinks it's a great call. Stewartville thinks it's not. I just keep my mouth shut because Coach Tony Tuseth taught me years ago that my yelling is not going to change the call at all, so let it be.
Do you yell? You just seem so mellow. I don't know. Not a lot.
You could ask many officiating crews that I feel bad when I see them now because I yelled many things that didn't need to be yelled.
And then blamed it on Coach Muller. Oh, no, him and Severson were up in the booth, weren't
they?
I
kind of had to keep both those guys in the booth at times, just protect them.
Dan Simmons and I could hear him yelling, though. Don't worry.
There you go. Good.
As Stewartville, what's happening here? Because it was a first down, and it happened after the play. They get the first down.
Yep.
They do move it back the 15 yards, but it's a new set of downs. Right at the 30-yard line is where Stewartville will take over. Not take over, essentially keep going with the drive.
It's almost, you know, for a 15-yard penalty, it didn't hurt as much as it could have.
Look at this formation. We got 5 wide. We got trips to the far side. You got Owen Sickink in the slot. Single Henry Cheddar over here. They're going to throw this one up to Sickink. And dives just a foot out of his reach. And boy, he got a step on that defensive back, Ricky.
Good play design. You mentioned the trips set over, the trips bunch over by Kasson Mantorville sideline there. Owen down the center of the football field all by himself, one-on-one. Had a step. Yep. Great pass by Eden Helder, just a foot out of reach. And what an effort by Owen Sickink to lay out and, you know, almost got his fingertips on it.
Yeah, 2nd down and 10 after that shot towards the end zone. 9 seconds to go. They're going to have to get something out here. You know, what I think sometimes that frustrates me, we'll let this play develop here. Number 3, getting the handoff, dipping and ducking and getting to the right side. And again, slow to get up. This is not good for Stewartville. They're motioning the athletic trainer out. As that's Owen Sickink that is slow to get up. He's got to come off, though. Hey, 3rd down and 1. This is a perfect opportunity to get the Thunder to his lightning. Braden Nelson in there.
Yeah, and we see him on the field now.
He's a big boy.
He is big, strong, fast, and been waiting his turn. Here he goes.
You want to talk about a fresh running back that's big. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder. Look at they got 4 wide. They got trips to the left side. You got Parker Wangen all alone on the right side. Does he take a shot knowing it's going to be 4th down and 1? No, Helder's going to take this one. Oh, Nelson just buries a guy as he leads blocks for Helder, and Helder's been using his legs very well tonight for us. What a play call. Nelson's, you know, he's fresh coming in, but hey, first play out there, let's get you just lead blocking, maybe get some hitting, and now who knows, maybe hand it off to him. You got to tell him, secure the ball. He did have a fumble last week against Byron, and turnovers have been, you know, something that we have to win. Last week we won the turnover battle 6-1 over the Bears. Tonight, 1-0, and that was a big one.
Yeah, so I mentioned how the single receiver was going to be one-on-one, and notice how Kasson Mantorville's coaching staff put a safety over the top. And so essentially they have 2 guys covering one.
And he gets down. Seuss comes all the way from the backside defensive line to make that tackle. Sorry, Coach, you were saying they're bringing a safety over.
Yeah, so essentially they're double teaming our backside wide receiver, which is taking an extra guy from the center of the football field. And now you can see Stewartville is able to more easily attack the middle of the field with the running game, with the quarterback power. But it's just fun for me to see the X's and O's being you know, kind of moved back and forth from each coaching staff. So a lot of fun for me to be watching this.
As we have Helder in the backfield, tight trips to the right. It's Wangen. Riggin goes in motion. And there's a handoff to Braden Nelson. Lowers his shoulder and keeps trucking forward. A late flag coming in. I don't know what that's going to be. We're going to get the call here. Coach, I don't even know. Here comes the call. Personal foul against the defense. We're at the 7-yard line, so it'll be half the distance, but it will be an automatic first down. So it'll be first and goal from about the 3. 6:23 to go here in the third quarter. Stewartville leading 21-7, and we're seeing them milk a lot of clock on this drive. They've burned almost a half of the third quarter with the ball in their hands after receiving the opening kickoff.
Yeah, and we know that Kasson Mantorville's offense is, not necessarily a quick fire offense that's going to score quickly. So Stewartville shortening the game at this point is a good
Helder's
strategy.
going to take this one off the left side. He tries to cut in, but great play there by Hoff. Michael Hoff reads that one, makes the surefire tackle as we get no gain.
Hoff with a great job there, just shooting through. Again, staying flat on the line of scrimmage and making the play.
Here comes Sicking back in the game to the delight of the Stewartville crowd, and you hear him. And I don't know if you could see it on, but I'm fist pumping. Get it to old number 3. He's got all 3 touchdowns for us tonight. And he's no stranger to the end zone. He's got his moose package in front of him. Riggin and Schneider. Schneider moves to the right. There's that counter to the left. And Owen Sicking puts it in the end zone for his 4th touchdown of the game, and Stewartville takes a 27-7 lead as they used a lot of clock there, Coach. 5:35 to go in the third quarter, up 20 points.
Awesome job by the Stewartville offensive line, building a wall, essentially sealing everybody on the Kasson Mantorville team off to the right side of the field, and then those pulling fullbacks, in this case, just kind of came right off and cleared off anybody that was in the way. Owen was untouched going in.
That was like an 80-yard drive because we got the kickoff down here about the 20 or 25. 6.5 minutes. Wangen's going to kick this one, and that one's good. He's 4 for 4 tonight. We'll take it as Stewartville has a 28-7 lead in the third quarter. 5:35 to go. The Section 1 championship game here at Rochester Mayo High School. Can't say enough good things about their facility here. I mean, beautiful turf. Their track is awesome. Great scoreboard. And just a great atmosphere for section championship football.
Yeah, you can't ask for anything better. It's a fun night. Both fans are excited to be here and staying warm with their own, clothing and energy that they're bringing. So, fun night.
Owen Sicking, 4 touchdowns tonight. That brings his total up to 33, Coach.
That's a huge number. It's just thinking about how many touchdowns that is in 10 games is fascinating. Those are video game numbers is what that is.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to be curious to see here. That was, as you mentioned, a long sustained drive, and Kasson Mantorville's defensive line was working so hard to hold up. Let's see what they got left now when those same guys go to play offensive line. If they can get some push, open up the holes that they need to for Ballwald, and see if they can, fire this ball down the field a little bit.
Back deep for Kasson Mantorville. It's going to be Tomey and Peterson again as Wangen kicks that one deep. Peterson's going to return this one. He does have that wedge up the middle. Flag comes in from the far side of the field already, so another flag. They're trying to point, but there's not a lot of action coming from the refs. The Stewartville crowd is trying the yes chant for the turnover yes chant. I don't know if it's going to go our way, though. And here comes the Zebra Conference to talk about what all these flags mean. Chop block on Kasson Mantorville, so that'll negate most of that return. 5:30 to go in the third quarter, 28-7 Stewartville, and Kasson Mantorville moving in the wrong direction. As this will start the tip of the ball right at the 20-yard line, just the way we like it, Coach. Then you don't have to have that fancy yellow line going across the field.
There you go.
Did
Absolutely.
I talk about that? I convinced my mom that was actually on the field, that somebody had a laser pointing across. Well, no wonder he reached out then, right? You see the yellow
how
line.
do you do that?
Kyle Nelson wants the play clock reset. It's not moving anyway, but Barwald in the backfield, Kyle Nelson under center. They send Snow in motion. And Caleb Jansen. He's pumped up.
Well,
He is pumped up.
Well, that looked like the inside counter that they scored on from 20 yards out earlier in the game. And Stewartville defense made an adjustment and sniffed that out right away.
What a play by the middle linebacker. We've talked about him often, how the first 4 or 5 games really solid, but when they played Kasson Mantorville in week 6, it was his coming out party, and he has been fantastic ever since. Old 52 there in the middle of the field, the quarterback of our defense, as Nelson's going to take this 2nd down and 9 snap. Send a guy in motion. He's going to drop back to pass. Oh, his receiver slips. He just throws that one away. Probably a smart play, as we had everything covered up. 15, which is Aiden Smith, was going out on a route. He tried to plant his feet, and he slipped out. To your point, maybe the weather has some slick conditions out there on this turf.
Yeah, I don't think either one of us went down to the field to see if the turf was wet or to see, if the ball hits the ground, is it keeping the moisture there. So
they allow you on the field? Because they don't allow me anywhere
no, not
close
anymore.
to it.
I'm not allowed.
They know I'm going to be doing routes out there. All right, here, big 3rd down play for this Stewartville defense. The first time we've seen them here in the second half. 4:44 to go, trying to keep this 21-point lead for the Tigers. Nelson backs up to pass. He's got all sorts of pressure over there. Colton Parker with reckless abandon. Ball gets thrown up in the air. Parker Wong and almost picks it off. Boy, that defense was coming on hot, Coach.
Yeah, that was a dangerous pass by Nelson, but, tip your hat to him for staying alive and getting that ball off and then finding a receiver that was at least close enough that he's not going to get a grounding call.
What pursuit by our defense, and good job by Nelson to even get that ball
absolutely
out of his hand. He was going back towards the end zone. It almost went 2 points in favor of Stewartville. And you saw from here, Colton Parker was salivating.
So here comes an attempted punt block, I would imagine. This is the situation when you're going to try to go get it. We saw how close they were earlier.
Oh, Jace Klug stepped inside, almost had a beautiful punt there. Sickink's going to field that one. He splits the crowd, and he's going to break it to the right side. Tries to run through a guy. Now he's kind of dancing. I wonder why he didn't just take it all the way to the right sideline.
Yeah, it looked like there might have been a line there, but
okay.
From his vision, you never know what he saw, and it's hard to second guess Owen Sickink, right?
Yeah. Hey, between him and me, we have 33 touchdowns this year, Coach. Combined. You're welcome, Coach Muller. Here we are. Sickink, good to see him back out there after having to take a few plays off, but then he said, you guys are close enough to the end zone. I'll give you one play, get you in the end zone. He's got all 4 touchdowns tonight, and that's why Stewartville leads this one 28-7 with 4:20 to go in the 3rd quarter. And Aiden Heller's back. We'll see if they chew a little bit of a clock. Well, they are in great field position. They throw that one out to the flat. That one's got Owen Sickink written all over it. And boy, the way he kind of dips and ducks and gets in and out of his breaks is second to none, Coach. As a flag comes in way from the backside, you wonder if it's going to be a hold call on one of our wide receivers.
I tell you what, we saw a pretty clean first half with maybe 1 penalty, and now we're seeing plenty of laundry on the field in the second half here. Illegal block.
It is an illegal block on Stewartville. And at the point of the infraction, right? Is that how this one works?
10 yards from there.
So it'll be a 1st down and, maybe 14?
Something like that.
No, but, great facilities up here. They didn't leave us a calculator, though. So you think they just put one of those on your phone. All right, it's 1st down and 12. 1st down and 12. Last time we saw this situation where we got moved back and it was 1st down and long, Sickink just broke like a 15, 20-yard run to reset the sticks. Trips right. We've seen this a lot, kind of Sickink jabbing to the one way, going the other. And there he is. Boy, did he make a couple guys miss. But good tackle there by Emmett Rickey as he gets a hold. Great sportsmanship there by Reese Tripp picking Sickink up.
Something I have noticed in this game, we coming off of the Byron game and we saw a little bit of feistiness from both teams, and
Yeah.
you just haven't seen that in this game. We did see the late hit, penalty of aggression,
Yeah.
but it didn't seem to have the nastiness that maybe we saw a week ago.
Yeah, you kind of talk about that, what I would call a triangular rivalry. We
Sure.
talked about it, just like the Rochester schools, Stewartville, Byron, Kasson, Mantorville. And this is one of those rivalries, but I feel like this one built a lot more on respect. Two of the top teams like we talked about. That's a fake handoff to a stretch play. Good pass there by Helder to Wong, and he gets it down to about the 31-yard line, and that's going to leave us with, 2 yards to go? 3rd down and 2? 3rd and 2 at the Kasson Mantorville 31-yard line.
Jeremiah Peterson getting a good pass rush there.
Yeah.
Aiden Helder stood in there, made the pass, and took the hit. But, Kasson Mantorville's found a couple ways to get pressure here in this second half when we have dropped back to pass.
Riggin, tight trips to the right. You got Sickick behind Helder. We've seen this a few times tonight. Sends Riggin in motion to the left. Fakes the snap, just trying to get, and here comes the timeout. That's what I'm not a fan of. Is you got a coach that's calling plays, averaging 52 points a game, 3 of the last 4 seasons undefeated, right? Back-to-back Big Southeast District Blue Division champions. And we got some people in the stands telling him how to do his job. You don't have to. I know you've been there.
Yep.
I'll take the heat for this one, Coach.
I just kind of smile.
I see the shrug.
Yep,
I see the shrug.
You get to cheer however you want, and it is what it is. It's just part of being a coach. There's a lot going through your head, I'll tell you that. You don't know how many things you're actually thinking about.
Yeah.
What's the down and distance? What personnel grouping are you going to? What's the play? What's Kasson going to do? There's just so many things that you're trying to calculate.
Yeah.
And thinking quickly is not always the easiest thing to do.
And especially of a game of this magnitude. You feel that pressure. You feel
Yeah.
and Coach Muller talks about it quite often. He doesn't want to let his guys down. He knows how hard his coaching staff works. He knows how hard his players work, and all those things going through your mind with the pressure of this situation, with a state, a trip to state on the line. Yeah, you might take a few extra seconds there. No problem.
He has the same expectations for himself as he does for his players, and so.
Kasson Mantorville didn't like the setup look there, as they're going to go back-to-back on timeouts, as both teams are going to have 2 left, 3:16 to go in the 3rd quarter. Stewartville up 28-7. And this could be a pivotal play here. If we get the first down and can keep it moving, we may be able to drain most of the clock in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, well, we saw him eat it up the whole 3rd quarter about on that first drive. So, add this in there. It's going to be 2 drives, and on to the 4th we go.
So something I appreciate Dan Simmons tuning in here. We call him the legend. He was the guy that started these streams. He deserves a lot of the credit for all of this. The streaming platform that we have here in Stewartville, nobody better out there. He did just give us an update on the Hutchinson-Marshall game. Hutchinson is leading 38-7 late in the 3rd quarter. Why is that important? Because the winner of this game, Section 1, plays the winner of Section 2, which is that Hutchinson-Marshall game. Hutchinson, the defending state champions, a team that beat this Kasson Mantorville team in the state title game. There's a fake handoff, and he's going to let that one fly, but who's that? Henry Cheddar! Everything's better with Cheddar as old Hank the Tank brings in a big catch and gets us down to the 1-yard line.
Well, they've been running the ball so well all game that you knew the hard play action was coming. And there it was. Heavy play action. Couple steps back. Look for the backside post, and there was Cheddar just streaking down the middle of the field. Gets it down to the 1. Aiden threw that ball in kind of sometimes as a quarterback, when your guy's that wide open, you just don't want to overthrow him. And so he just made sure to throw the ball where he knew Henry could get to it. Had he let him just another yard or 2, it's a 6 points. But it's almost better now because now you can run more time off the clock as well. So there's.
At first, I thought it was a misread by Colton Parker, because Colton Parker did kind of a corner route towards the corner of the end zone, and I thought he was supposed to go on a post. Sure. I never saw Cheddar coming from the backside. Glad he was there, though.
Yeah, that was a beautifully designed play and executed very well.
And you wonder if he didn't have Parker drifting off to that far side so that he could take the safety with him and leave Cheddar coming from the backside all alone. That's stuff that I'm going to ask him when I get him on the podcast one of these days. as he's going to hand that one off to Owen Sickink. And Owen Sickink for the 5th time tonight in the end zone. Incredible. Incredible.
So I got to just go back one play, back to the hard play action post play. We kind of made mention of the fans getting a little restless about getting the plays in. But again, Coach Muller dials up the perfect play after having to use a timeout, dials up a beautiful play call, gets us down to the 1, and then the next play, there's Owen Sickink again into the end zone.
With only 3 minutes left on the clock, we have had the ball out of the 12 minutes. I bet we've had it 8. And there's another one from Wong, and he's been solid all year. And you talk about a guy that's taken his position, probably the best backup quarterback you're going to find in Section 1. And he's just thrived, not only in the special teams game, he's our punter, he's our kicker, but he's been our best wide receiver probably. He at least leads the team in touchdown catches, and he's been an outstanding defensive back for us.
Yeah, a real valuable player, again, helping out the team any way he can. And he does it in a multitude of ways every single Friday.
34 touchdowns for Owen Sickink this season, as we have 35 points on the board here against a great Kasson Mantorville team, as Stewartville still working to keep pushing that gas pedal.
So if you're Kasson Mantorville now, it starts to feel a little desperate. You're a team that relies on the run, and when you're running the ball, it's fine. You can get huge chunk plays, but the clock continues to move as soon as the chains get reset. Passing the ball, an incomplete pass, the clock stops. And so they have to decide, are we going to keep running the ball, keep the clock moving, or now do you go to the passing game that you're just, it's not your strength. It's kind of I call it playing left-handed. You're doing something that you're not necessarily, as good at.
Absolutely, as Parker Wongin's going to line this one up at our 40-yard line and kick it away. And as always, he gets it down to about the 10-yard line. Peterson's going to take that one. And here comes Lincoln Doobie on the tackle. Know what I love about the Tigers, and they do it on special teams, and they especially emphasize it on defenses. They like to tackle the ball, right? Like they go in there with the one hand around the ball, and I love that. Try to force that turnover.
Absolutely, and on the last kickoff return, we saw the pointers out. The ball was on the ground at some point. Might have been late, but
it's on the ground for a reason.
It's on the ground, and then it's coached up that you just start pointing, and maybe you can influence the ref's decision, I guess.
Snow on the near side. Barwald's out. As they hand that one off to 24, Henry Paulson.
Paulson with a nice run, getting looks like a first down, 10 yards, moving the sticks.
Good job by Paulson coming in there. As we talked about Barwald being a linebacker, getting hurt, limping off the side. We see him on the sideline. He's probably itching to get back in there, competitor. Paulson, also a senior, 5'9", 160 pounds. And Kasson Mantorville has had all sorts of bodies with different successes. They hand that one up the middle, and Paulson with the whole head of steam almost lost the ball. You saw it start to move around in his arms. I'll tell you, you can even go back as far as, several years ago, they had Robbie Horseman, smaller guy, great wrestler, but they put him in that position. Yeah. Low center of gravity, just get that full head of steam and get going.
Follow your blockers, get north and south, run hard.
So Paulson, they're riding him right now as he's had 2 outstanding runs. They're going to do it again as he picks up about 6 or 7 yards, as Paulson's finding all sorts of running room. 58, Ben Nelson out there pushing his way. Him and Reese Tripp are kind of the leaders of that offensive line. You also got Elias, I don't know how to pronounce that one. I should really check. 52, Tyler Paulson. You wonder if they're related. Oh, did we get it? Please, please point our way. And they do! Stewartville ball, as it's another turnover for this Alex Hayne defense. You see Kasson Mantorville start to move the ball, and there's the Stewartville defense tackling that ball, popping it out.
Tremendous job there. Kasson ran the same play about 3-4 times in a row with success. And as you mentioned, tackle the ball, get it out. Huge play that really is going to demoralize that Kasson Mantorville team that was maybe starting to feel like, okay, we're still in this.
And
That's
you
going to
start
hurt.
to question if that was the last time we'll see Owen Sickink, because he's come off to the sideline, and Braden Nelson will be back there as the Tigers have a 28-point lead with 1:48 left in the third quarter.
Well, just knowing that Owen's gotten up slowly a few times, you might be right on that. If you need him again, he appears like he could go out there, but you
He's
might
going to
not
hand
need
that
him.
one off to Nelson off the left side. And there's a flag that comes in. I think we're going to be moving in the wrong direction here on the first play after the turnover. Did you see who got the fumble, Coach? There were so many Tigers around it. I didn't see.
Nope, I did not see it. You're right. It was a mob jumping up and down with their yes chant as soon as the ref pointed.
I would say it was Caleb Jansen based on the celebration, but I mean, he celebrates getting a drink of water on the
That's true.
sideline. So
Yeah, that is true.
he's got a lot of, lot of energy.
He
old
does,
52.
but he's such a quiet guy off the
Super quiet,
field,
yeah.
and then you get him with his uniform and football helmet on, and he becomes
Old Zippy. His
he becomes
alter
Zippy,
ego.
I guess. Yeah, maybe that's it.
As Stewartville moves back, it's going to be first down and 19, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and it happened right near the line of scrimmage as Riggin moves to the right. Colton Parker jumped on that one as we're going to move another 5 yards back. That's a right call. That's a good call. Our spotter, cameraman Ryan Verness up here helping us out. The pride of Virginia, Minnesota right now, right? Is that what you're saying? I bet half of the viewers are from there. Half the viewers are probably from our family there, Coach
They
Meyer.
might be. Who knows?
Hey, if there were ever a time you support us, now is that. All right, first down and 24 to go. As Helder's in the backfield, he sends Riggin in motion to the right side. Bad snap. Just jump on the ball. Boy, did that take a Kasson Mantorville hop, and the Komets come away with that. Jeremiah Peterson is the one that jumps on it, and you talk about a disastrous drive for the Tigers.
Yeah, as soon as you start to think, well, this one's, in the books,
Yep.
you have a few penalties, a bad snap, fumble, turnover, and it's the momentum. The momentum shifts, and
Yep.
here Kasson steps out there feeling good. Here we go.
You can feel it start to shift, but I will tell you right now, if this Alex Hayne defense can somehow bend and not break at this area of the field, boy, Stewartville crowd will go crazy. I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Paulson, though. Oh, it's a fumble! Are you kidding me? And is that 99? Caleb Jansen's off and running! It popped right into his hands! What a play! What a play!
Wow.
Are you kidding me? I've never seen anything like that. Here I am, getting Kleenex out, sulking away over here on that turnover, saying, oh, I hope they bend but don't break. And the first play, electricity through Rochester Mayo Stadium.
Well, I didn't see who made the initial hit. Was it Caleb that made the initial hit as well?
I don't think so. I think it was either Byrne or Schneider, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, they hit the quarterback and the running back right at the mesh point, and that ball popped out it
I'll
popped.
give him a yes, yes, yes for that. Okay, now let's take care of the ball, boys. Sicking's back out there. You got Jelly out there. You got Riggin. What a play. Oh, if
That
he
was
would have made it to
amazing.
the end zone, I might not be in the booth anymore. I'd probably be tackling him in the end zone, celebrating. Malone goes in motion. They're going to do a jet sweep to him. Sicking's out in front, lead blocking. Malone tries to cut it back. Tripped up by Peterson and then finished off by Tomey, but he gets down to about the 34-yard line. Stewartville 35-7 with just over a minute left in the third quarter.
So ball security will be a key here in the final moments here of this third quarter.
I don't know if the oxygen tanks are out, but you see Tor Lunas at right tackle here. Caleb Jansen probably taking a little breather. I don't know if he's ever ran 45 yards faster in his life.
Yeah, that was a lot of adrenaline going through his body at that point.
Aiden Helder gets Riggin in motion. He's got Sickink behind him. He's going to hand this one off to the playmaker, Sickink. He goes to the left side, cuts it back, uses a little stiff arm. Incredible cutback there by Sickink. Keeps his hips moving. And he moves the chains as he gets all the way down to the 25-yard line.
And you mentioned his patience earlier. You saw it on that play. He actually stutter stepped and came to a stop, and then accelerated back to the right a little bit, picked up 3 or 4 more.
You don't like to see that. Easton Seuss going off the side, holding that right arm, and he looks like he's in a lot of pain. And especially a multi-sport athlete like Seuss, one of their top basketball players as well. You don't want anybody getting injured at this point in the season, this late. They got trips to the right. It's Jelly, Riggin, and Wang to the right. Nelson behind Helder. Helder's going to keep this one. He's trying to follow Nelson, and he gets what he can, but it's only a couple yards, 2 or 3 yards. But that's going to run the clock all the way to the end of the third quarter. Here at Rochester Mayo High School, the Section 1 Class 4A championship game, and Stewartville is in control 35-7. Coach, milking some clock there in the third quarter. We had it for quite a bit. Up 28. We got to keep the turnovers under control.
Yeah, and knowing there's 12 minutes left until a chance to make it into the state tournament would be a fantastic thing. So
we got a Hall of Famer up here, Jeff Whitney. Got to give him a big thanks for the hospitality at Rochester Mayo. Great to be home. We've had a few guys coming up here. Kevin Lander, former head football coach for Rochester Mayo, also a UWL Eagle. Always got to give the Eagles a shout out. Greatest school ever.
Amen.
Coach Muller went there. Coach Meyer went there. I may have went there.
Athletic director Kurt Hughes went there.
Hey, that's right.
Yeah.
A lot of good people that went to UW lacrosse.
No coincidence, Adam. No coincidence.
No. They're just producing talent over there at UWL. And this fourth quarter sponsored by Eagle Athletics there at UW Lacrosse. Tuition.
Yeah, there we go.
Is
for the Peterson and Meyer girls.
Yeah, right, exactly. Tuition's going to be waived. Sickink goes out to the right side. Do you think they're going to take a shot here? Another bad snap. Helder's going to snag this one. Tripp is giving chase. Helder does a smart thing, just gets it out and lives for another play. I've seen a few times that Helder has just made the smart move where he's rolled out, he doesn't have anybody, just throw it away, get to second or third down. This one, 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, it's a rule that's changed since I was the head coach. In high school football, you used to have a wide receiver in the area, and even if you did throw it out of bounds, past the line of scrimmage, outside the pocket, all those things that apply in the NFL, that didn't used to be the case in high school. So I'm so happy to see that rule change because it saved the health of the quarterbacks because you don't have to hold on to the ball and just take the shot anymore.
Fake handoff to Sickink off the left. He throws it over here to Carter Miller, who we haven't seen a lot out there, but he stays in bounds. Smart play by Carter Miller. He gets down to the 11-yard line, and it's going to be 4th down and 1 here. Oh, no. What am I talking about? That first down marker was at the 15, not the 10. It's a first down.
Yep, first down. Carter Miller's got his hands on the ball there, and a good decision by Aiden to just flip it forward. He could have run for 10 yards, but why not let Carter Miller carry it down the field for the first down?
Carter Miller's out there. Drew Jelinek, Carter Miller, Henry Cheddar, tight trips to the left. You got Tegan Malone on the near side. Owen Sickink and Helder in the backfield. He's going to run this one himself, Helder. He probably audibled out of a Sickink carry there. He says, hey, you got 5. Let me get 1. Owen Sickink, what a game for him. 5 touchdowns. He extends his streak of 3+ touchdowns in a game to 10 this season, as he is having a season for the ages. And you'll see if Coach Muller maybe tries to get him here, number 6. If he does, we might have something to say about that. Helder in the shotgun, 2nd down and 5. He's going to throw this one out to Sickink on the side. He's got Cheddar blocking, sealed it, get to the pylon. Oh, flag comes out way late. I thought if they call that on Cheddar, it looked like a great seal block. John Becker going out there to. I think they're going to call a hold, and this one's going to come back. So it's going to be 2nd down, and what do you think, Coach, about 13? I'm trying to see where they called.
Yeah, I think they're going to call it on Henry.
It looked like a good seal block.
It really did, and you could see Henry was disappointed. He had his hands on his face mask, kind of disappointed maybe with the call.
2nd down, and boy, we are back to the 20-yard line. So they need to get all the way down to the 3. So second down and 17. Yeah, my math. I'm married to a math teacher.
Yep.
20 minus 3, 17. I didn't even need my paper. I borrow from the 2, and then there's 1. And
Carry the 1.
all right, here we go. We got 5 wide. Oh, nope, they just brought. Who's that in the backfield? Miller, it doesn't matter. Sicking's into the slot on the near side. Are they going to take a shot with him again? A little wheel route. Helder just held onto it far too long, and Reese Tripp does a good job bringing him down. Little pat on the helmet. Always appreciate that. I think that's awesome to see. You can play hard to the whistle.
Yep.
No problem.
I like it too. I always told my guys, hit them hard, pick them up, tell them I'm going to hit you harder next time.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I think this is where third down and this far. Do you see one of Stewartville's patented screens?
Yeah, it might be the right call.
Something safe if you can. I don't know.
At this point, you're probably just trying to pick up as many yards as you can here.
If they tight trips to the right, you got Jelly, you got Malone, and you got Carter Miller. They're bunched really close, and they're far outside on the numbers. It would be a long throw. Sickink all alone in the backfield. There goes Sickink. He's open. Not anymore. Helder's going to keep that one, but boy, how many yards does he pick up as he's just spinning his way all the way down to like the 8-yard line? What a run by Helder. Doing his best Owen Sickink impression.
Yeah, so Coach Muller, I mean, really on that play, gets him down into field goal range. Do you try to take the points or work on that field goal unit, or do you got something dialed up? Yep, here comes the field goal unit. And a lot of times this is just you want to see if you can execute.
12, 11, they're at 10. Hey, and this is good practice if you ever have to run it quick. 5 seconds, got to snap it. There it is, good snap, good hold. Wangen puts it up. Hi! And just like on the basketball court, you're going to hear it this year, 3 points for Parker Wangen. As it is now 38-7 with 9:26 to go in this game, and Stewartville continues to extend that lead. Extend the lead, Coach.
That field goal right there just makes me smile because it's something that this team practices every Thursday. How quickly can you get your field goal unit onto the field, get set, and get the ball snapped and through the uprights? And they just showed right there that it's not by accident. Not every team can do what just happened right there. And this team works on it and executed it perfectly.
Love it. You may need that in the tight games that you may see coming forward. If we can, get past this 9:26, and we've seen crazier things happen. But right now, Stewartville is playing awfully well with the fourth quarter. That is all that stands between them and winning their first section title since 2015 when you were on the sidelines. Are you as nervous up here as you were at that game, Winona, at home?
Oh, not even close. I just
awfully nice up here. We got snacks, we got candy.
Yeah.
Don't tell your kids we took it from their Halloween buckets.
When I was leaving school today, people were asking, just saying, have fun tonight, good luck. Like, oh, I'm not nervous a bit, but I just remember years ago, it was hard to even eat.
I'll tell you, as soon as I found out the stream was working fine and the audio was working fine, my nerves went away. A good kick there. Peterson's going to take that one at his own 10-yard line. Here comes Lincoln Doobie. And tackle made there by Jace Klug. I think that's the second or third special teams tackle. Talk about a guy that it seems like every time he touches the field, something good happens. I believe Jace Klug has 2 catches this year, both for touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the incredible catch from Parker Wangen. I believe that was in the Red Wing game. And then the catch he had, the play that he had against John Marshall, that was one of the best balls I've seen Aiden Helder throw all season. Also has 2 interceptions, and there you saw him on special teams. Jace Klug, we get him for another 2 years after this one, only a sophomore. As you're starting to see some reserves in there for Stewartville, you got Taryn Conlon at linebacker. Hood is still out there at middle linebacker, though. Here's a pass. They're throwing it up. It's up in the air. Wangen's coming back for it. Parker Wangen picks it off, and he's just fighting away. What a play by our safety. I talked about it. He's the best backup quarterback around, but the position he's been put in, he's thrived, and you saw it there. Another interception for Old 16 with 9:08 to go. Stewartville 38-7. I think the crowd's starting to feel it come together, Coach.
Yeah, knowing that they substituted on defense there, I would imagine we'll see the same thing here with many substitutions coming on the offensive side of the ball as well.
Definitely a lot of substitutions, and we talked about this being the greatest year to be a JV player. How many times do you get to say, I almost play an entire quarter? Timeout, Stewartville. 9:08 to go. You're going to play almost the entire fourth quarter in a section championship game.
It's amazing. These guys have played the second half of nearly every football game. Sans the Kasson game from earlier this year, and now here they are the second time we play Kasson Mantorville, and they're getting on the field again. So you're right. It's a beautiful year to be a JV player. You're getting a lot of action.
And one thing that, I know a lot of people have questioned, and a lot of people bring it up is, can this team play a full 4 quarters? Well, Kasson Mantorville has made us do it 2 times this year.
And I think that's really all some of these players want. They want to play 4 quarters.
Absolutely.
But you play hard as long as your coach asks you to. And if it's 3 or 2, you do that. And then when it's time to come off, then you cheer as hard as you can, just like your teammates were doing earlier.
Vince Wellick takes over at quarterback. You got Braden Nelson in the backfield. We'll try to get the numbers as best we can as Braden Nelson's going off the right side. And he's a punishing ball carrier as he's throwing people to the side. And he picks up about 9. Picks up 9 on the first run here. And we will try to keep this clock moving. We chewed up a lot of clock in the third quarter, and I'd imagine Coach Muller's goal is to do a lot of the same here in the fourth.
Yeah, almost stole Kasson Mantorville's game plan, coming in. I felt like Kasson Mantorville would be thinking, make this a fast game, shorten the game as much as you can, keep the clock rolling. And really, Stewartville did that most of the game. So it's been interesting how they both kind of had the same
5 seconds
mindset going in.
And they got the snap off. Give it to Nelson. He breaks from the left to the right, stays on his feet, and it takes about 3 or 4 guys to bring him down as a flag comes in from the far side, and usually that's a holding call. Holding against the Tigers, and that'll move them back, and we'll redo second down here. We'll try to get the numbers for you. At right tackle, Tor Lunas. I believe Bryant Rindles is still in there at right guard. Oh no, Rindles has moved to center. Tor Lunas is at right guard. And 74, Colton Zegan is at right tackle. They move Dylan Hoot into motion. They're going to hand that one off to Braden Nelson. He, again, doesn't come down by the first tackler. And he picks up about 2 or 3. On the left side of the line, Ridge Hats, Montana's favorite Stewartville Tiger. And we got 75, Brady Holt. That's the big cats up front. You got Drew Jelinek out there. You got Braden Nelson, Vince Wellick running the show. Sophomore Isaac Larson, number 10, as well as Jace Klug, number 6. I think that's everybody for the Stewartville offense right now, Coach. Good to see a lot of kids getting experience here. 8:17 to go. Stewartville up 31 points. Tight trips to the left. Wellick's going to hand this one off to Braden Nelson. He's following Dylan Hoot out there who puts a block. Oh, my goodness. Larson goes flying. As Braden Nelson picks up about 3, it's now going to be 4th down and a long 6. Do you punt this, Coach? It looks like they will.
Yeah, I think just make Kasson Mantorville go make the field as long as you can at this point.
Ty Brown is going to take over the punting responsibilities as Parker Wangen might get the rest of the night off. They said, hey, you got your interception. You gave us the ball back. We're going to sit you down now for a little while.
And one thing we've seen all season is once coaches decide to pull the varsity first string, whatever you want to say, we don't usually see them go back in for special teams. And so here we see the JV punt team coming out to push that ball down the field.
What happened there? They're pointing to somebody on the left side of the line. Is it an equipment issue? Is it? Hey, we got saved there. There was only 1 second on the play clock, I think. They're trying to find a backup to the backup, which can be difficult.
It can be.
44, I think that's Mickey Height runs in there. What a game he had last week for the freshman, the scoop and score into the end zone.
Got thrown in there at the last minute because Justiniano's helmet came off.
Justice Dino's probably thinking that could have been me.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
Ty Brown gets that one off, it takes a Stewartville bounce, and it's rolling inside the 10 and down to the 5 for the brand, Ty Brown. As number 34 downs that one, that's Carson Meyer. (38-7), 7:15 to go here in the game. Class 4A Section 1 championship game at Rochester Mayo, Stewartville, Kasson Mantorville, and it's been all Tigers. It was 7-7 early, but then 31 unanswered points for the Tigers is where we're at right now.
Kasson Mantorville has also fully substituted to their backups here, letting these guys get some experience under the lights, in a big game situation. Just let them play, giving the seniors and some of the starters the rest of the night off.
As Nelson's still going to stay under center, and is that Paulson again? It is, and he gets brought down by Dylan Scanlon. We've set some records here tonight, viewers. Also, for the first time in my broadcast history, my dad texts and gave a compliment to the cameraman first over us. Ryan Verness up here helping us out. You can thank him for the great camera work. Drove several hours to be here. That's why we call it Tiger Nation and beyond, because it's not just in Stewartville. We got fans all over the place from coast to coast. As they pitch that one out to the side, Jace Klug came up from the safety position. Ty Brown tried to get him. Dylan Scanlon tries to push him out of bounds. Number 8 never giving up there. That's Charlie Wood. Finally drags him down. Great carry by Howard Head. I believe he picked up, I don't know. I'm guessing 50.
It was a big play, and my eyesight reared its ugly head again, as I do notice that Kasson Mantorville does have some of their first-string guys out there. But again, that's totally fine. I brought the story up last week when we played Kasson Mantorville in our last game of the season. Kasson took us out, and I was not going to pull Cody Stanger off the field no matter what. He deserved to be out there, and many of these guys probably do for Kasson as well.
Absolutely. Head goes in motion again. They hand that one off to Paulson up the middle. I'll tell you, that's one thing I really like about basketball, is that last game we saw it with guys like Will Cheddar and Nolan Steer that have given so much to the program. You leave them out there until that time where you say, you know what, this Caledonia game was out of control. They get the substitutions in one at a time, let them walk off the court and get the standing ovation that they rightfully deserve. In football, unfortunately, you don't have that same on and off transition where you can show them that appreciation. So to your point, got to be tough to pull these seniors off. As Reese Tripp jumped early, I can't believe they didn't throw the flag on that. As Snow's going to break this one, but Charlie Wood brings him down. Either Reese Tripp has the fastest reaction time in the history of football, or he might have been going a little early.
Or the refs are cold and have decided, let's get
I feel bad. I promised Coach Meyer, you can be up in the booth with me. You can be warm. It might be a little chilly. And then I take all the windows out. And we are in the element. As you got Snow to the right, you got Head to the left. You got Paulson behind Nelson as Head goes in motion. They hand that one off to Paulson. And Justice Dino tried to snare him up, but Paulson gets in the end zone for Kasson Mantorville. 5:31 to go in the game, and the Komets put up their second touchdown, their first since the first quarter, as it's now 38-13 in favor of Stewartville.
Well, good job executing their offense all the way down the field, and on that touchdown run, that was a huge hole for Paulson to run through. That was very well done.
Here comes the kick. That guy's got a leg on him. Lars Ingram, he's a junior. We'll see him again next year. Hopefully not all that much if you're a Stewartville fan, but Kasson Mantorville's got to be happy as the Kasson Mantorville fight song plays on. 38-14, 5:31 to go. And Stewartville sending out probably their hands team here, Coach.
Yeah, I would imagine. Now it's a decision of, do you put your JV team out there with the hands unit, or do you call the varsity guys back out there to try to recover an onside?
I see with 3 standing in that huddle, we probably got our answer.
It looks like you might be correct on that.
Yep. And I think that's the smart call. You know, get the ball for us, go right down. Don't try to make anything fancy happen.
Yep.
Get the ball, go right down, be safe, and then we'll run our JV out there. So you got Caleb Jansen, Colton Parker, Zach Schreiber, Tegan Malone about 5 yards too far in front. Out here on the near side to the camera, you got Sickink, you got Carter Miller, you got Isaac Larson. I think Ian Hoots back there. And they just sent Parker Wong in deep in case they try to do something, that we have somebody that can just grab the ball and kneel it down for us. We'll see what Kasson Mantorville does. We got 10 guys within the first 5 yards of our return. And they're going to kick that one deep. And if I would just kneel it down, and he does. Great job by Parker Wong and just fielding that kick. And also classy move probably by Kasson Mantorville. Down 24 points with 5:28 to go.
Yep.
They kind of see the writing is on the wall.
Yep. That's something that I have always felt about the Kasson Mantorville program is, you know, when I was head coach, I was usually going up against Brock and just the classiest group of coaches. And
Coach Razzle, not a big Brock fan, but I think he's fantastic.
yeah,
Good
well,
guy.
I bet those two would have a great time together
Yeah.
if they ever did meet and hang out. So
If Coach Razzle ever gets out of his mom's basement.
yeah, but Coach Swanson's just kept that same classy act going. It's just a
Was
real
he a
good crew.
coordinator for them?
I believe he was. Yeah, I
Offense,
believe he
defense,
was.
do you know?
I think defense is my thought, but I could be totally wrong on that.
I would love to have a step counter on him. He paces the sidelines from the time he gets on the field to the
Yeah.
time he leaves. He probably puts 10,000 steps on in one game. As Vince Wellick takes the snap, he's going to hand that one off to Nelson. Good block there by Dylan Hoot. Also Isaac Larson with a great block. And there he goes, rumbling and stumbling. The Thunder to Sickink's Lightning. 73-yard touchdown for the man, Braden Nelson. Exclamation point.
There you
Wow.
go. He's been spending most of the game on special teams tonight and waited his turn, made a key block on an Aiden Helder quarterback power, and there he got a chance to carry it, and man, he took off.
And there's a senior for you. He gets into the end zone in this big section championship game, and the Stewartville lead grows back to 30 points. And I would imagine because they don't have an extra point, JV extra point, a lot of times they run just their JV 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
It's not because they're trying to get more points. It's essentially because they don't want to put their extra point crew back out there in this type of game where it's already, it's already in the bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you wonder, will it be like the Winona game where they kneel down the 2-point conversion with 5:15 to go? I don't know. It's probably still a little early.
Yeah. You might just run a base play up the middle, or we probably won't see a double reverse pass of any sort.
I'd imagine that Taryn Conlon's getting this one. Wellick's in the backfield. He's got Conlon to the right. He's going to hand that one off to Conlon to the left side. And he's going to run off the left side. Ridge Hat's over there. 74 pulling. Colton Zegan was over there. Created a hole big enough that we got an extra 2 points as Stewartville's lead grows to 32 with 5:15 to go in the fourth quarter, as Stewartville crowd is starting to get on their feet, and I think they can feel that Lakeville might be on their destination watch a week from now. Section play, we got, if we run it down, we talked about Section 1, Section 2. This is Section 1 here, Stewartville, Kasson Mantorville. Stewartville up 46-14. In Section 2, it was Marshall, the number 2 ranked defense in the entire state, and Hutchinson High School, the number 2 ranked team, based on rankings, number 2 team, and the defending state champions. It sounds like Hutchinson was well in control. In section number 3, Simley High School, 8-1 was playing Hill Murray. We don't have scores for these. In section 4, it was Fridley against Chisago Lakes, who came out as the 3 seed and upset St. Anthony Village, even though they had a record of 4-6. Academy of Holy Angels and Benilde St. Margaret's is 6 seed, who made it to the section championship in 5. Section 6, it was Zimmerman High School, who upset Mound West Tonka, the QRF number 1 ranked team in the state, 42-14 to make their way to the section championship. Zimmerman Orono in Section 6 for the championship. And then your last two sections, Section 7, Cloquet was able to upset Grand Rapids 42-15, and North Branch upset Hermantown. So it's 4 versus 3 in Section 7 as Kasson Mantorville tries to return, but Lincoln Doobie drags him down. Section 8, I think that's one to watch. Ricori versus Becker, two of the best teams in the state. Whoever comes out of that may be a favorite on that one side of the bracket. As you know, sections 1 through 4 are on one side of the bracket, sections 5 through 8 on the other side.
Yeah, and just listening to you go through that, you just hear some of those schools again and again and again, knowing that they just have the culture built. They're essentially the powerhouses of Class 4A or of the 4A
absolutely.
class. So.
And we will see a new quarterback under center. I believe it's Kasson Tomey. I believe that's their backup. I don't have a read on the number. Oh, it looked like two guys were in motion. It's not. Number 12 is out there. Sam Gronke, he's a sophomore. He's running the show. It looked like which flex back didn't know which one was going in motion, and they both started moving. It's going to be offsides. 5:08 to go.
Hey, here we go, Good luck, Char.
Gotcha. Way to go, Coach. Yes.
5:08 to go here in the game as Kasson Mantorville is running this one. You see a lot of the Stewartville coaches, headsets are off because now they've handed this off to Joe Conger and Ramsey Miller on the sidelines as they ride Kasson Mantorville's running back number 4, Jeremiah Peterson, out of bounds. Charlie Wood is the one that gets the credit for that. I think he's had like 3 tackles, Charlie Wood has.
He's been active, that's for sure. A lot of these young guys, they just, they're stacked up. They might play on another team, and in a starting role. But when you're on a good football team, a lot of times you're 2nd, 3rd, 4th on the depth chart, and you might be a pretty darn good player.
Talking about big plays, how about Lincoln Doobie out there? We've seen a couple big plays from him. That hit he had at the end of the Winona game to end that thing, and then he had the fumble recovery last week to essentially seal it. You got to watch for 43. He might make something happen for us. Yeah, and for nothing else, we can get the Doobie chant.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we've mentioned him several weeks in the second half of these football games. He's a tremendous athlete, big kid, strong,
wrestler
fast.
For us too, I believe.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of Tigers that haven't seen the field here tonight, as the coaching staff has done a great job at cycling people in, again, to get this experience. Not many times you get to play in a section championship game. The last time we were in a section championship game, I believe 2019 against Waseca. That was played at RCTC.
Yep.
They were a fantastic team. You had Ryan Dufault there. You had Willingham. You had Andrew Morgan, Tavi Ball, their running back. I mean, just an outstanding team. And they gave us all we could handle, and we dropped that one. And now here we are 3 years later returning. How about this for Section 8? Ricori beat Becker 22-20 final. Wow.
Well, those two teams have had a lot of, epic games over the years. I feel like Becker comes out on top more often than not, but there they are again.
Big thanks to Dan Simmons for that update. Always has his fingerprints on this broadcast. He's the godfather of this broadcast.
Yeah.
And I know I've been saying it, we can't call this one, even unless it's traveling, the Dan Simmons broadcast booth. Maybe wherever we go is the Dan Simmons broadcast booth. We just rename it. But I'm gonna have to find somebody with some power to try to rename the one in Stewartville.
Yeah, I'll share a funny story with you. Last night at the supper table, my middle daughter, Raina, just decides out of the blue to say, "Hey, Dad, you know who the nicest person in the world is?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is sweet. She's going to say me." And she goes, "You want to know who the nicest person in the world is? Aaron Simmons." Just don't know where she got that from, either listening to the game that night or what. But, yeah, she had decided he's the nicest person in the world.
Just out of the blue.
Yep.
He's a pretty nice guy.
He is. Yeah,
Speaking of nice guy, how about this? So I was trying to test in case the iPad didn't work. Coach Conger and I were trying to set up a backup option with a laptop and a computer, and I was trying this new program. I'm not as good with this stuff as the Simmons family is. He was going on stage in Nashville, and he texted after he came off stage and said, I heard you, my dad told me you were having some trouble. Let me know if you want me to FaceTime to help. It was like 11 o'clock at night.
Well,
that's the kind of guy he is.
Yep, absolutely.
What a great family. We're so lucky to have the Simmons in Stewartville. Kasson Mantorville working their way down the field, hoping to close this gap. Big stop there. I believe that's Justice Dino on the tackle, 19 it is. The guy that was unlucky on the Mickey Height fumble recovery touchdown.
Well, Justice has done a real good job all season of filling in when needed. He's going to be a good player. I know he's one of the scout team players that Coach Hain mentions a lot. He brings it every day and goes against these starters and takes a beating at times and gets back up and he just gives everything he's got to help the team.
And what I love, Justice Dino, just a sophomore. We got a couple talented sophomores out there. We talked about Jace Klug, Parker Wangen, and Justice Dino on cue. Right there getting in the play, Dylan Scanlon, another sophomore. And speaking of Dylan Scanlon, how about the play last week where he ran down that reverse pass to save the touchdown, and then Cameron N tips it up in the air. He's there. Karma, we said it comes around.
Yeah.
Karma was there. Dylan Scanlon was there for the interception. 1:11 to go here at Rochester Mayo High School. 46-14 Stewartville. And the clock is ticking. We are just 1 minute away from what we envisioned when we were here at the scrimmage playing this Kasson Mantorville team.
There you go.
I sent a tweet out. I said, this is going to be a special season. I promise you. I mean, I might say that every year. But this year, we're doing good things.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting how it came full circle. I forget that this is where the scrimmage has, both these teams see each other before week 1. And now here they are in week 10, essentially, of the season, battling again.
Rochester Mayo against Owatonna tomorrow for the Section 1 5A championship to see if they're going to be, who's going to state for that class or that section. Rochester Mayo, big fan of Donnie Holcomb. He was the offensive coordinator here, I believe, the last year. I was an athletic trainer. I joked with Jeff Whitney when he was coming, but kind of back home. This was my original home when I came to Rochester here. Rochester Mayo High School was the first one, but now I call Tiger Nation home. As Kasson Mantorville does get into the end zone. That was scored by Sam Gronke, the sophomore quarterback who came in. It's now 46-20 with just 16 seconds to go. Yeah, but, the field, the facilities weren't like this. We didn't have the turf field and the nice track, but I'll tell you, if I win Powerball at $1.5 billion tomorrow, you're looking at Stewartville's next field just in different colors.
There you go. The
Except in the middle of the field, do you think they'll put a picture of Coach Razzle right in the, or something? I guess if I give $30 million or something, they will.
Put whatever you want
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
right. We're getting a new press box, too. I'll just let you know. Farmington will envy our press box if I win
that would be great.
I just have to ask Crystal if it's okay first.
Okay.
Yeah. They're going to hand that one off. 42 off the right side. Owen Nelson, and he gets in for the two-point conversion. 46-22. Stewartville with 16 seconds to go in this game, as we've seen the JV for almost the entire fourth quarter. Yeah, but I was talking great people here. Jeff Whitney, we talked about him. He was an awesome guy to work for. I was the first athletic trainer to come to Rochester Mayo, and I couldn't have asked for a better athletic director to be supportive and stuff like that. And now to see the hospitality that Mayo has provided us, allowing us to even come up here.
Yeah.
Brock Trina from Kasson Mantorville being supportive to allow our broadcast team to do it. We appreciate that. They didn't want to run simultaneous streams, which I think shows a lot of class from their end, and I do appreciate that. And obviously Kurt Hughes doing the legwork. He was the guy that got the film set up, and whatever paperwork needs to be submitted. I'm not familiar with all that, but they got it done. With 16 seconds to go here, Coach.
Yeah, we thought for sure last week was going to be our last broadcast, so tonight was kind of a treat in this big game for us to be able to call it, bring it to all the people that are listening and, still tuned in at this point.
Stewartville's planning that they will not try some trickery here after they booted it deep the last time. 16 seconds to go, and I would imagine that, are they going to fair catch it? They're going to let him return it. This is Dylan Hoot, and he fumbled it. Luckily, Luckily, Hoot got back on it, as we are going to see the greatest formation in football with 10 seconds to go, 46-22 Stewartville. And Vince Wellick is going to be able to tell a lot of his family members, guess what I got to do? And if they're watching, you're about to see the play that this whole Stewartville crowd's been waiting for 4 quarters and for about 7 long years, Coach. Here comes the yes chant. There's the snap and the kneel down, and the clock ticks away. Tiger Nation, pack your bags, because this Stewartville football team is headed back to state for the first time since 2015 as they completely run the table. 10-0, the #1 ranked team in the state, and they proved it tonight against one of the best in the state on the other side, the defending section champion. To be the best, you got to beat the best, and they did it tonight, 46-22 Stewartville. And the Tigers are going to be representing Section 1 in the state tournament. Coach?
Yeah, I'm just super proud, knowing that Coach Muller was there and had my back through all of, the years that I was coaching, and he was my offensive coordinator. Knowing what an amazing coach he was then, and just seeing him grow and become the leader of this program, I couldn't be prouder of him personally. And to see the coaches that he's had with him over his years, it's awesome. I mean, it truly is. They do a great job of preparing the players each week, teaching them not only to be great football players, but good human beings on and off the field. And it's a lot of fun. They expect it. You know what I mean? It's like this isn't a surprise to them. This is what they've been training for and doing. So to see it come into fruition is, I couldn't be prouder. It's an awesome moment.
They talk about it. The standard is the standard, and it's high, and this doesn't happen by accident. The hardest working coaching staff, I call them, in southeastern Minnesota. These players put a lot of time into this. They bought into, this feed the cats philosophy that Coach Muller was bringing in, and they have been spectacular this season. Going through the line, I always talk about it. I watch going through the line, and you got to give a lot of credit to this Kasson Mantorville crew, because they've shown a lot of respect through all 4 quarters. They played hard, but when the whistle blew, you saw them picking other guys up, tapping them on the helmet, and I appreciate that. So a lot of credit goes to Coach Swanson. And what it does is when you see Reese Tripp in that Gopher uniform, you start to cheer for him a little bit more. When you see Peyton Seuss in that Wake Forest uniform, you cheer for her a little bit harder. When Abby Schubert goes and plays college basketball, probably going to be cheering for her. I know we're on different sidelines during this game, but when you see this kind of respect and you see, the mutual respect that's going on, especially right now, you're seeing it if you're still tuned in. This is what makes you appreciate high school sports here on Friday night, Coach.
Yeah, for sure. You said it. You summed it up really well. I'll always have a ton of respect for Kasson Mantorville just with how they carry themselves. They kind of are the standard in a lot of ways,
absolutely.
And so when you're starting every season, you just know no matter what sport it is, volleyball, softball, baseball, basketball, football, you just know that they're going to be a tough team to beat, and they do it with class and integrity, and hats off to them for an awesome season.
Yeah, I talk about how rivalries are built. Some are built on animosity. This one, I really do feel like it's built on respect. I know there's here and there might be some bad blood here and there, but I think overall in all sports programs, whether it be basketball, whether it be wrestling, they're dominant.
For sure.
But the programs that these 2 schools have built have been incredible.
Yeah.
And so I think it's built on respect. This rivalry is built on respect. I think you appreciate what each other has accomplished. And here you are going to see Stewartville receiving. Jeff Whitney hands it to Kurt Hughes, our athletic director at midfield. Jeff Whitney, the athletic director for Rochester Mayo. And they're announcing. And Stewartville coming forward. You got Colton Parker there. You got Owen Sickett behind his 5 touchdowns tonight. Peyton Byrne. And that's going to be proudly displayed in Stewartville. What an incredible feeling. Coach, you were there back-to-back section championships. What's going through your mind here as you see your kids?
Honestly, I can remember the first one. I just stood there with the biggest smile on my face and tried to take it all in. It was one of those things where you work so hard for so long to do it. And when you finally get there, you want to just kind of stop and smell the roses a little bit and take that moment. So I still remember that. It was awesome. And then to just celebrate with the players and the coaches was, something I'll never forget. So I'm super excited that these guys get that moment right now.
Yeah, and, we're going to enjoy this one. We're going to enjoy the heck out of this one, Coach. I'll tell you that
For
much.
sure.
But they just announced it now. Stewartville will be playing Thursday night at
Yep.
Lakeville South,
Yep.
7 p.m. And if our unofficial results, it will be against the Hutchinson Tigers. So you talk about back-to-back games against a tough squad. You just went against the state runner-up
Yep.
to get to state. And now you're going to be going against the defending state champion, the Hutchinson Tigers, a program that speaks for itself.
A perennial power. Every year they're in the state tournament, it feels like, if not in the championship game. And, I was talking with Coach Kevin Lander before we got on the air here, and just knowing they're going to – it feels like they have 10 plays, 7 runs, 3 passes, but you're going to get 2 tight ends. You're going to get a whole lot of power coming at you, quarterback power, running back power.
Yeah.
It's going to be very similar to what we saw tonight, where our defense is going to have to bow up and be ready to stop a really strong running game, and then offensively we're going to have to find a way to score some points.
And they have a future gopher on their team too, Alex Elliott, a linebacker, just incredible athlete. We saw him go off at running back last year against Kasson Mantorville. Well, he's getting recruited as a linebacker safety for PJ Flex team, as you see Stewartville celebrating. And one of my favorite things to watch is when Coach Muller makes his way into his players, and we'll see if he does it here. We only got a few minutes here left before we're going to shut it down. We want to thank everybody out there that's watched. I mean, the support that we've had this season, a lot of seasons, it's all because of you out there. The energy that we have, it's fed off the support that we have out there. Over 1,000 people at one point, 1,100 people watching live this game, over 1,200 people watching live at one point in this game. Can't thank you all enough for tuning in, and not just supporting the broadcast. It's more important supporting these student athletes out here. Just incredible kids that we see on and off the field. Very proud of both teams. But tonight, it was Stewartville's night, Coach.
It really was. They executed very well. We talked about the turnovers early, and the first half, the 1 turnover. Stewartville played a pretty clean game. Kasson played pretty well. They just had a couple hiccups here, and against a powerful Stewartville Tiger team that we've seen all season, it just wasn't going to happen with a couple of mistakes. So, yeah, just overall from week 1 until week 10 here, we've seen just
– it's been a freight train.
Yeah, not flawless football, but just an amazing standard, an amazing level of football all season. There just hasn't been a whole lot of, sticky situations or anything. So they got what they deserve. They got a section title, and they're off to the state tournament. It's awesome.
And here he comes, everybody. This is one of our favorite moments. Garrett Muller coming in. He's going to carry the section plaque in with him. Here he comes. He's going to jump. There's the celebration as your Section 1 in Class 4A champions. Stewartville Tigers run the table 10-0 as they will go on to the state quarterfinal, Lakeville South, 7 p.m. Thursday night. One final time here on Stewartville Activities on YouTube. Coach Meyer, Ryan Vernessa on the camera, and our spotter. I've been Adam Peterson. Thank you so much for all your support this year. We appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully you continue this ride with us as we continue to cheer these Stewartville Tigers on, and we'll see what they can do as they return to state for the first time since 2015. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for all the support, and we wish you all the best. And Dan, if you're still listening, we hope we made you proud this year, buddy. Take care, Tiger Nation.